It is the first Scouting Report game of the week here on the Antler Sports Network, and we're back in beautiful East Texas. This time for a interdivisional matchup as both teams prepare for their district seasons. It's becoming a rivalry game slowly but surely. It's the West Rusk Raiders coming in with a record of 2-1, hitting the road to take on the 0-3 hosting Tatum Eagles here on Homecoming on the Antler Sports Network. Good evening, everybody. Jared Jones in the HTO broadcast booth in fantastic Eagle Stadium. One thing about small town Texas high school football is even the smallest towns, no matter their size, have fantastic stadiums. Want to say a big thank you to our camera operator for tonight. Some of you might remember his name from the first broadcast of the season, Mr. Zach Abercrombie, hitting the highway with me to deliver this Scouting Report game of the week. The Raiders and the Eagles slowly getting more and more familiar with each other. So far, the Eagles have the advantage since 2006. The Eagles are 5-0, a perfect record against the Raiders, looking to make that 6-0 tonight. West Rusk on the other side, sitting at 2-1 with wins over Mineola last week, Sabine the week before that, in the first game of the year, falling to the Tigers of Malakoff on the road 56-14, but now on a bit of a win streak as the district season approaches the horizon. Tatum, led by head coach Whitney Keeling, representing 3A Division I, Region 2, District 6, again at 0-3, with tough losses to Center on the road against Dangerfield, and last week a rough loss against Pittsburgh due to storm cancellations. The same storm that knocked out multiple games, not just in East Texas, but across the state. Thankfully, looks like it's going to be no rain. Partly cloudy skies. A beautiful evening for some Texas high school football. Here on the East Texas Benefits Countdown to Kickoff, we'll speak to West Rusk Raider head coach Rafe Mata as he gets ready to lead his Raiders on the field and maybe try to play spoiler against the Tatum Eagles. We'll take our first break. When we come back, we'll hear from Coach Mata back after this. This is a Scouting Report game of the week on the Antler Sports Network, presented by Yosemite Roofing and Pelche Kia Tyler, where tough never quits.
Street Pharmacy and Medical Supply offers a complete approach to health and healing, providing prescriptions and medical supplies from one team who understands you and your lifestyle needs. Professional, friendly service, providing the best care possible. Brick Street Pharmacy and Medical Supply. Brick Street Pharmacy and Medical Supply introduces the U-Step Laser Walker, providing Parkinson patients new freedom. A laser line visually prompts each step, so you walk normally and stay in control, preventing rollaways. Now available at Brick Street Pharmacy and Medical Supply.
Back in the East Texas Benefits Countdown to Kickoff for our scouting report game of the week between the West Rusk Raiders and the Tatum Eagles. As we are mere minutes away from kickoff, it seems like we have a parachuter coming down with an American flag. That's what I call good old-fashioned Texas high school football. There's absolutely nothing like it. And speaking of nothing like it, for the first time, as the national anthem seems to be going here, here he is. And there's a Texas flag as well. Wow. What a sight to get things going and get beginning in this game, as both teams seem to be on the field getting their final preparations together. But we had the opportunity to speak with West Rusk head football coach Rafe Mata prior to tonight's action. We are live at Eagle Stadium for the East Texas Benefits Countdown to Kickoff. Moments away from the intra-divisional matchup between the West Rusk Raiders, currently sitting at 2-1, and the Tatum Eagles sitting at 0-3. With us via the East Texas Benefits Hotline is West Rusk Raider head coach and athletic director, Coach Rafe Mata. Coach, this is a pretty big day for Tatum. It's their homecoming, so of course you guys are wanting to play spoiler and move on to 3-1. Kind of describe the feeling going into this one, especially with a pretty big non-district test, and the kind of tone you want to set before going into a rough district season.
Well, anytime you play Tatum, it's going to be a battle. They had two pretty tough games against Dangerfield and Center, and then they came out against Pittsburgh, and they played a good quarter and a half, and they were actually kind of getting after Pittsburgh a little bit before they got canceled. So the big thing we're looking for right now is just trying to come out, set the tone as far as trying to be physical, match their physicality a little bit, and carry that on into the district the next week.
Now, of course, going into this year, you've had back-to-back 10-win seasons, and this is your first year at the helm as the head coach. But you've been in that coaching staff, in that locker room for a pretty good while now. So keeping that consistency is, I can probably say, is a pretty big factor for you. What's it going to take to beat the Eagles tonight?
The biggest thing is finding a way to just contain some of the guys they have. They're always loaded up with athletes. You got Cole Watson at quarterback and Carson Gonzalez as their slot. The Chambers kid out there at receiver, and the thing is, they're all going both ways. So not only are we trying to figure out how to tackle them, but we got to figure out how to block them at the same time. That's going to be the biggest thing, is finding a way just to keep them under our wraps and keep them under thumbs, and then find a way to find holes in between their defense when we can.
Coach, I'm glad you brought up Tatum's two-way players, because you have plenty of two-way players yourselves. Who are some of the names that we need to look out for?
The biggest ones right now probably are Noah Murphy and Cole Jackson. They're going to be our two running backs. They're going to play inside and outside backer. But it's not just them. Our starting quarterback's also an outside linebacker. Our slot receivers are our safeties. Kyle Harper's is going to be a 4-year starter for us. Noah Murphy's the same way. And then the biggest thing is our linemen, which we've never had to do before, but our linemen are going both ways a lot of times. Kason Reed's a big asset, and he's a starting left tackle, but he can step on there in the D-line and help us out whenever we need him to as well.
Coach Mata, of course, this is the first time we've had West Rusk football, at least on the Antler Sports Network, and this will be our viewers and listeners' first time seeing your Raiders team. So kind of tell us about yourself, your coaching philosophy, and what you bring to the table.
Came to West Rusk about 4 years ago. Before that, I was at Kilgore. I was with Coach Biles over at Baylor and at Houston before that, and kind of took a little bit of everything that I learned from him and from Coach Val when I played at Kilgore, and learned a lot from Coach Harrison while he was here as well. As far as just how to handle kids, that's the biggest thing, is how to handle kids and how to get them prepared to play on Friday nights. Obviously, you're going to see we're going to be a spread offense, but it's kind of a spread power game. It's kind of what I was brought up in, and multiple on defense, trying to bring pressure when we can, but at the same time, making sure our kids are getting put in position to win. Look at West Rusk kids, or if you know anything about West Rusk, and they're going to be hard-nosed kids and they're going to play hard, and it's kind of something they've been ingrained with since they've been in Little League Baseball. Our people around here do a really good job of bringing them up kind of in a system already, so they know how to handle things. They know how to be coached hard, and they handle it well.
Now, finally, of course, this is our first time speaking. I always ask coaches when I interview for the first time just a nice, obscure question, and you're going to be no different, Coach. So how about you tell us your favorite pregame or postgame meal?
Oh, there's no doubt. Our postgame meal, our SCCLA lady, Miss Toller, she makes Raider dogs up here at the concession stand, and she always brings us a couple after the game. They used to just be called hot dogs, but we named them Raider dogs because they were better than anybody else's around.
You know, might have to check out a Raider dog. Might have to take you up on a Raider dog post game. For sure. Coach, thank you so much for giving us your time and As the national anthem concludes, we are mere moments away from kickoff. Both teams have had their respective entrances, parachutes, and all, and we are moments away from kickoff. West Rusk, the visiting team, in their all-white tops and bottoms, powdered almost Carolina blue helmets with a white striping with a dark blue outline across the crown of the helmet with a dark blue face mask, and the secondary West Rusk logo across both sides. Tatum, the home team for tonight's game, green tops, white bottoms, white numerals outlined in black, and a all-white helmet with a green and black stripe across the top, and the tall green tee across the sides of the helmets. Our referees tonight had a chance to speak with them. I'm a Tyler native, and thankfully, we have some Tyler area officials as well. Want to give a quick thank you to them. Referee for this evening is going to be Efren Rodriguez. Umpire is Billy Coward. Head line judge is Ray Soto. Line judge Michael Howard. Back judge Zay Green. Both captains in the middle of the field with Efren and company of this Tyler area officiating crew doing the commemorative coin toss. This broadcast of a Scouting Report Game of the Week is presented by Yosemite Roofing and Pell Shea Kia Tyler, proud sponsors of the Antler Sports Network. Tatum will receive the opening kickoff and will introduce starters for both ball clubs, but the main matchup to watch involves both quarterbacks. And ironically, a lot of Ironman athletes for both of these teams, both starting quarterbacks, playing linebacker for the Tatum offense. And we'll look at the rest of them later on, but to highlight and open here, Cole Watson starting quarterback, also starting middle linebacker. He'll be going head-to-head the entire evening long with West Rusk quarterback and inside linebacker Xander Mason. So both very talented athletes. If you remember last season on the Antler Sports Network, we broadcasted the Tatum Eagles and the Lumberton Raiders in Lufkin over at Abe Martin Stadium. A very run-heavy affair as an Eagle soars across midfield. Another Eagle appears to be soaring across midfield. Fresh 12 minutes on the clock. Seems that both teams are waiting, don't know what's going on. Coach Whitney killing his Eagles, representing 3A Division I Region 2 District 6 with a record of 0-3. Coach Rafe Mata, who we heard from earlier, and his West Rusk Raiders, home of the Raider Dog, if you recall that interview just a few moments ago, representing 3A Division I Region 3 District 9. West Rusk is the oldest school or the oldest district in Rusk County, originally founded in 1877 before Lincoln Independent School District and New London Independent School District merged to form the West Rusk Consolidated Independent School District. The line judge and the head referee are right at the 50-yard line, seem to be discussing something, probably who knows what they could be talking about. Very, very fun officiating crew for tonight, knowing them they're probably deciding where to go after the game tonight. They split, walk along both sides of the hashes. Seems like we might be ready to go. And yes, we will. West Rusk looking to kick things off. Bailey Hughes, the senior, looking to get things going with the opening kick. Back deep for the Tatum Eagles is going to be Luke Sigler, number 11, the junior, and also Carson Gonzalez, the senior, who was the starting safety and starting inside receiver. So as we mentioned earlier, a lot of Ironman athletes for both of these ball clubs. Two very run-heavy offenses as well. So this should be the definition of a grit and grind game. My prediction is whoever has the fewest amount of rushing yards is probably going to have the fewest amount of points. So almost a muggy evening. We have some early scattered showers across the East Texas. Longview didn't get too much, however. Temperature stayed in the middle to lower 80s, and we seem to be in that same range as of now. Very light wind, partly cloudy skies, 81 degrees. Hughes speaks to his kicking unit. They split, and we are moments away. Ball seat up on the 40-yard line. The Tatum Eagles are going to go from left to right on your respective device. And here is our opening kickoff, brought to you by HTO. And we are off. Very short kick, not a lot of distance. Fair catch is called, and hauling about the 25-yard line, and that's where Tatum will take over first and 10. Now let's get introduced to our starting lineups. First, beginning with the Tatum offense, presented by Scouting Report, official recruiting platform of the Antler Sports Network, led by head coach Whitney Keeling. Their offense, of course, the straw that serves the drink. Number 8, Cole Watson at quarterback. Jamari Gibson, the running back. The receiving core, Carson Gonzalez, Luke Sigler, Jordan Chambers, and, of course, the 2 sports star, Ja'Cory Bradley, a big figurehead for the Eagle basketball team, looking to do the same. The Buffet Busters up front, left tackle Cameron Pegues, left guard Xavier Cook, center Austin Freeman, Rylan Freeman at right guard, and Taylor Rutherford at right tackle. Opening play, there's going to be a handoff to the outside to Gonzalez. He's got room and gets tackled after crossing midfield. He's going to get brought down about the 43-yard line, first down and 10. And a fantastic start now for the Tatum Eagles. And as we mentioned earlier, both teams acclimated to the run game, are driven by the run game. And now Tatum, after already knocking on the door, well within Raider territory to get things started. Lone receiver on the far side of the field. Now 2 receivers on the short side of the field. That's going to be Sigler and Chambers. Chambers in the slot. They're going to hand it off to him. No, it's a keeper for Watson. Watson initially gets hit, but is going to gain about 3. Tough gain, 3 yards. As the initial hit was made by the Raiders' number 55, Phoenix Carrillo. Carrillo with his first tackle of the ball game. That's going to bring up 2nd and 10. The official spot marks it down as 2nd and 8. The Eagles approach the line of scrimmage. They have a tight end. Bradley, the lone receiver. Man in motion is going to be Chambers. Direct snap right up the gut. Looks like that might have gained about 2. A little bit of a gadget play. And this is what you expect from Tatum. They're going to do some unorthodox movement on offense. Coach Keeling, right along the numbers, is not happy. That short gain is going to make it 3rd down and a little ways to go after the gain of 2. That's going to make it 3rd and 6. The West Rusk defense will introduce in a brief moment here. Ball's on the 40-yard line for this 3rd and 6 play. 10:50 remaining in the first quarter. Bradley once again the lone receiver at the bottom of the formation. Chambers now as a tight end. 2 tight end set as Slingler and Bradley are the lone 2. Watson on the option. Keeper's going to move the chains and make it first down and 10 for the Eagles, and they're moving on offense. And the defense looking to stop them for this West Rusk visiting team. It's going to be led, of course, by Xander Mason. Over at linebacker, Cameron Robinson, Logan Mills, and Zach Tysky. The defensive front, Cole Jackson, Luis Suarez, Noah Murphy, and Xander Mason, as previously aforementioned, are the linebacking core. Judson Dotson, Montrell Giddings at the corner spots. Jason Reisner and Ty Harper over at safety. After the Watson keeper, it's first down and 10. Clock still moving, 10-10 remaining. Cut blocks, quick pass to the outside is caught by Singler. Singler turns the corner, gets the first down and looking for more. Gets inside the 20 and moves the chains yet again. But officials will mark him down at what seems to be about the 23-yard line. And this is what this Tatum offense does best. They take their time coming up to the line, but their offensive line definitely likes to move and confuse defenses. If West Rusk can try to keep this offense, this explosive Tatum offense contained, then this could definitely be a game in hand. It's going to be called short, 2nd down and 1. Watson, deep ball up for Bradley, just out of his fingertips, incomplete. In coverage for the Raiders was number 10, Montrell Giddings. As Giddings was a step behind Bradley, Watson put a little bit too much on it, and that'll make it 3rd down and 1. Possible running situation, but if you know this Tatum Eagle offense well enough, any down is a running situation. We've hit 10 minutes flat, only 2 minutes past in the first quarter. Ball's only still on the 23-yard line, 3rd down and 1. Double backs here for Watson. No, triple backs. It's Watson under center. It's going to be a quick handoff up the middle. Can't really see who got the ball, but I can see it was obviously a first down as the carry was made by Sailor Nance, getting his first rush of the game and moving the chains for the Eagles. That is yet another first down. Already the third first down of this opening drive with 9:50 remaining. Quick substitution now for West Rusk. The Eagles here on offense have only missed the playoffs twice in the past 20 years, looking to keep that culture of consistency going. It's a pitch over now, back to Singler. Singler caught in a bit of a rut here, gets smacked down well behind the line of scrimmage. That's going to be a loss of about 3. Tackle's going to be made by the Raiders' Cameron Robinson. Robinson pretty much read that pitch like a book and got to Singler with plenty of time. That's going to be a loss of 3. Mark it second down and 13. This Eagle offense opened up this season in a shootout in an 80-63 loss on the road to Center. Center emerging as one of the best teams in the state. And if you would have looked on Max Preps or your respective score stream, you probably thought it was a basketball score. Here's Singler on the option pitch from Watson. Takes a couple of hits, but eventually gets to the original line of scrimmage for that gain of 3. And that's going to make it third down and 10. Initial tackle was made by the Raiders. Xander Mason, the quarterback, getting in there, getting dirty on the hit. And now it's going to be third down and long. Another third down and long. 8.5 remaining in quarter number 1. Both teams with all 3 timeouts. Coach Whitney Keeling, a 2-time state champion. Previous stop right at the Texas-Louisiana border as he was the head football coach of the Wildcats of Wascom. Looking to continue those winning ways here in Tatum. One slot receiver, Bradley, the lone receiver on the short side of the field. Watson going to get it up deep to a solid receiver. Incomplete. Just out of bounds. Pass was intended to Chambers as Chambers couldn't haul it in, and that's going to make it fourth down and 10. Awkward territory here for the Eagles. Could go for the easy 3, but at the same time, knowing Coach Keeling, this is definitely a possible go-for-it situation. 8:04 remaining in the first quarter. Ball is sitting at about the 19-yard line. No, they move it back, mark it at the 20. Bradley yet again, the lone receiver on the short side of the field. Singler in at tight end. Man in motion for the Eagles is Gonzalez. Gonzalez moves out as a slot receiver. Now motions back to his right. Takes the pitch, runs out to his left, has a little bit of space, has a fantastic block from Singler, but not good enough as he's short. Big fourth down stop, and the Raiders will take over on downs. Pretty good start here for this Eagle offense, but an even better start for the Raider defense to hold off Tatum and force a 4-and-out with 7:59 remaining. And as we take this time, let's get a quick look at the West Rusk Raider offense. Of course, as we mentioned earlier, led by Xander Mason at quarterback, Noah Murphy, the running back, Dotson, Giddings, and Kimontre McGregor, the receiving core. Luis Sanchez at tight end. Kaysen Reed, Logan Mills, Aiden James, Christian Lewis, and Carver Green are the offensive linemen. First down and 10, opening offensive possession for the Raiders as Mason keeps it. Check that. It's going to be a handoff to Murphy as he's going to get a pretty solid gain of about 6 and make it second down and short with 7:45 remaining in the first quarter of play. They're going to give him an extra yard. That last run will be a gain of 7, making it second down and 3 on the 24-yard line. We're about to cross 7.5. Tatum looking to bring the heat. Double back set now. It's going to be a handoff yet again to the outside. Same direction, but not the same result. He's going to get half of his initial gain. He'll gain 2, and that'll make it a third down and short. Murphy might have gained a yard on that one, and they're going to give him 2. Going to be third down and 1. Tackle made by Tatum's number 52, Jalen Sanchez, the senior, on the tackle. Big third down here for both teams. 6:55 and counting. A little bit of movement up front for the Raiders. Going to be a quarterback keeper. Mason got drugged down. Might have got the first down, and he did. Right at the line to gain. But don't know if he fully crossed, and they did. First down and 10. Fresh set of downs for the Raiders. And a pretty good start now for both of these offenses. And as we expected, 2 very run-heavy offensive schemes. Both teams love to keep it on the ground and keep this clock moving. 6:46 and counting, barring the restart. First down and 10 from the 27-yard line. Quick substitution for the Raiders. Checking in the offensive lineman number 77, Travion Anthony, the big junior. Mason takes the shotgun snap, keeps the handoff, rolls out to his right. Quick pitch. It's fumbled, but it's hauled back in. As Murphy keeps it. Ball dribbled on the ground almost like a basketball, but thankfully picked it back up and even gained some yardage. That's going to make it second down. And by my eye, about 6 or so to go. 6:40 remaining. Second and 7 now for the Raiders. After this play, we'll introduce the Tatum Eagle defense. Mason looking, throw it to the outside is incomplete. Intended for the tall target, his receiver, Montrell Giddings. And as they reset for this upcoming down, let's go ahead and introduce the Tatum Eagle defense. Xavier Moore and Xavier Cook, the defensive linemen, complemented by Jalen Sanchez at nose, Kenton Harrison, Quade Peoples, Cole Watson, of course, and Connor Tapley, the linebacking core. Defensive backs, Zaquaylin Smith, and also defensive back, Ja'Cory Bradley, Luke Singler, and Carson Gonzalez, the safeties. 3rd and 7 here. It's going to be a handoff to Murphy. Murphy breaks off a couple tackles, but isn't going to get past Cole Watson, and that'll make it 4th down and long now for the Raiders in similar position, but flipped, and it looks like it's going to be punt time for the West Rusk Raider offense. Definitely have plenty of potential with 6:15 remaining, but just couldn't get out of their own territory, especially after the Watson tackle on Mason. Here to do the kicking honors is going to be the sophomore Ryder Stanley. Back deep for the Eagles is going to be Gonzalez. Line drive kick, not a lot of height. Could get a pretty good bounce. And they do. Crosses the 40, still rolling, and rolls out of bounds at about the 36 or the 37-yard line. And that's where the Eagles will take back over 1st and 10. Of course, the Eagles going 4 and out on their last offensive drive. Pretty much started in a similar position as they look to get a much better result on this 1st and 10. Head coach Whitney Keeling is the 3rd coach of the Eagles in 5 years. And the West Rusk Raiders, led by first-year head coach Rafe Mata, already led these Raiders to a 2-1 start, is looking to make it 9 straight trips to the postseason in 3 straight seasons with 10 or more wins. So both of these teams, the definition of consistency. Watson in the gun, 2 receivers, 2 tight ends, and a back to his right. And we got our first flag of the ball game. False start penalty called against the Eagles. Efren Rodriguez, the white hat, making the signal. Also the line judge throwing his laundry onto the field.
15 from 32.
That penalty will make it a much more difficult first down. First down and 15. Ball will be on the 32-yard line now. Same formation, 2 tight ends, 2 receivers, and a back to Watson's right. It's going to be a handoff up the middle, bounces off the tackles to the outside. Looks like he's going to gain about 7 and pretty much taking that penalty away on the first carry. Trying to get a good number on him on the far side. I'm going to give that to Jamari Gibson, the starting running back for the Eagles. And that's going to make it 2nd down and 8. Still scoreless here with 5:17 remaining in the first quarter. After the Gibson run, it's 2nd down and 8, same formation, except Gibson is to Watson's left. They're going to keep it. Watson looking, has plenty of green right along the hashes, and he's going to bring up a pretty good gain there and make it 3rd down and short. My read is at about 3rd down and 3. They'll mark him down at the 45-yard line. And this is how dangerous Watson can be and how dangerous this Tatum offense can be. You sell out to the run, but eventually Watson uses his speed and eventually his extremely tall and athletic receivers, Bradley and company, Both Bradley, Singler, and Chambers ranging from 6'2 to almost 6'4. So plenty of height for the Tatum receiving core. 4:34 remaining in this one. Watson's going to keep it, and he gets spun, but spins and gains a yard. Now it's going to be 4th down and short, knocking on the door of Raider territory. Initial tackle was made by the Raiders' number 64, Zach Tysky. Clock rolling. 4:16 remaining. It's 4th down and 1. Big decision time for Coach Keeling and his Eagle offense. Singler and Gonzalez checking out. Could be a possible chance with 12 on the play clock now. Clock still rolling, 3:56 to try to catch the Raiders offside. Raiders got to be disciplined up front of the trenches here. Bunch formation. It's going to be a handoff, a big push in front, and that's going to move the chains. Ironic how the Tatum Eagles pretty much play very similarly to the Philadelphia Eagles, just using their size and athleticism up front to plow their way through defenses. As you can see here, keeping the Eagle drive alive. After the carry, ball's on the 49, 3:30 remaining at quarter number 1. Tatum in their second offensive drive of the ball game. Their first drive had to settle for a 4-and-out deep within Raider territory. Gonzalez in motion, and it's going to be a false start most likely yet again. That's exactly what it will be. Hate to sound like a broken record here, but after the flag, that's going to bring up 1st and 15 for the Eagles yet again. Now see, there's a benefit and a blessing and a curse this innovative Tatum offense. Have a lot of movement, and that opens up a lot of gaps for false start penalties such as the 2 we've already seen in this drive. Watson looking over to Bradley on the wide side of the field. He's the lone receiver. Watson looking over with 5 on the play clock, and it looks like Coach Keeling and company will call a timeout, and we'll take it with them. We have our first timeout of the game, and it's already been a pretty good one. Back after these messages in 30 seconds on the Antler Sports Network. After the Tatum Eagle timeout, their first charge timeout of the ball game, is 3:01 remaining in quarter number 1 of the Eagles already faced a 1st down and long after a previous fall start penalty. Jared Jones in the HTO broadcast booth with you guys. And the first game of a big weekend for the Antler Sports Network for our Super Saturday college football broadcast tomorrow. Introduce those games right after this play. Watson hands it off to Gibson. Gibson, fantastic box, but gets leveled right at about midfield. Big time hit for the Raiders there to minimize the gain. Tackle made by the Raiders number 33, Luis Sanchez. Sanchez already with his 3rd tackle of the game. That'll make it 2nd down and around 9. Our college football slate, 2 primetime games. First off, we'll head to Rose Stadium in the Rose City of Tyler, Texas, as the Texas College Steers will be taking on the 21st ranked Spirit of OUAZ, or Ottawa University, whatever you want to call it. Pass from Watson is incomplete to Gibson in the flat. Big time breakup there made by guess who? It's the quarterback and linebacker, Xander Mason. Mason with his first deflection of the game. Kickoff for the Texas College OUAZ game will be 6 o'clock Central, 6 p.m. Central. And an hour later, we'll be kicking off from Crowley ISD Multipurpose Stadium as the Rams of Texas Wesleyan, recently ranked within the top 15 of the latest NAIA rankings, will be continuing Souter Athletic Conference play against the visiting Aggies of Oklahoma Panhandle State. After the incompletion, that brings up 3rd down and 9. 2:22 on the play clock. Watson looking across the middle. Big time catch. Cutting across the middle and looking for extra space is Chambers. Chambers fumbles the football. Picked up by Wes Rusk. Turns the ball over. Chambers had plenty of room, saying he was down. And this is going to be interesting here as Chambers, if you Trying to try to get a replay here. Chambers just absolutely didn't even try to jump to get that football there. And officials convene. This is going to be interesting from my angle. And if we're looking at the replay here on the big screen, yep, I would say he's definitely down. That right knee came down first. So fair to say that Chambers is going to get a big-time first-down player to bust this game wide open, barring the official review. 2:15 remaining in quarter number one, and this game has absolutely flown. Again, want to give a huge thank you to the Tyler area officials for refereeing this game. Had a chance to speak with them before this one. Fantastic group of guys led by head official Efren Rodriguez, again umpire Bailey Cowart, headline judge Ray Soto, line judge Michael Howard, and back judge Zay Green. Coach Keeling and Coach Mata pretty much a couple of yards in front of each other. Who knows what they could be joking about, as the officials are not too far in tow discussing the call. It seems like they're going to be taking a minute, as there's already water on the field. And no, they're going to say it's Raiders ball. Oh my. That's interesting. 2:15 remaining, and it's going to be first down and 10 for West Rusk after the Chambers. What would have been a gain of at least 20 plus now turns into a gain for the Raiders. Now the Raiders in their second offensive possession of the game, pretty much a rewind from earlier in the game, almost exactly where they started their opening drive after forcing Tatum to turn the ball over on downs. Ball is going to be placed on the 16-yard line, first and 10. Clock still sitting at 2:15. Xander Mason taking signals from the sideline. Tatum making some adjustments on the defensive side of the ball, looking to bring the heat. Mason takes the shotgun snap. It's going to be a handoff over to to Murphy, and Murphy isn't going to get very far, but he's going to gain maybe about 3 or 4. Either way, it's going to be second down with less than 2 minutes remaining in this first quarter. Second down and 6 now for the Raiders. Ball is right on the 20-yard line. Mason making an adjustment at the line of scrimmage. Coach Mata changing the call. Mason with an empty backfield. Mason looking, winds up, lets it go, has a man incomplete. Great defense by the helmet of Luke Singler, as Singler had his face directly towards the end zone, trying to stay step for step with the intended receiver in Sanchez. At least I believe that's Sanchez. I try to get a number. That's number 22 for the Raiders, but I don't have a 22. But Singler thankfully turning around right at the right time. The incompletion will bring up third down and 6. Another big third down, same formation, empty backfield. Mason looking to throw it. It was right in his batted down. Big block there by Xavier Moore, and that might have earned him a spot on the varsity basketball team. Sending the ball back like a power forward, and now it's punt time yet again for the Raiders. Now it's fourth down and 6 after the swat. There are a few times we see the good old-fashioned block in basketball and in football. But Mason Moore with great reaction time to bat down the pass. Punt time now for the Raiders, as mentioned earlier. Gonzalez, the lone man, back deep. Line drive kick, not a lot of air, but gets a fantastic roll across this midfield. Is going to bounce out about the 41-yard line. Now check that. Officials are going to mark it at the 39. No, moves down to the 40. Thank you, Ref. I appreciate it. And that's where Tatum will take over first and 10. One thing that has stayed consistent about the Eagle offense so far tonight, as they have began every single one of their drives, what I would say pretty darn good field position. Minute 17 remaining in quarter number 1. Tatum with 2 timeouts. West Rusk with all 3 of theirs. This Eagle team last district title was back in 2010. After this game, heading down south to take on Lumberton as Watson takes a hit on the option, pitch out to Gonzalez. Gonzalez turns the corner, gets to about midfield, right at the line to gain. First down and 10 yet again for the Eagles. Next contest for West Rusk is going to be a home game against the Tigers of ARP. Tatum looking to, with a win tonight, to go 6-2 against Rusk County Schools since 2006. The Raiders looking to get their first win against the Eagles since 2006. First down and 10. Watson, quick handoff to the inside. Gets to about crossing the hatches, but is only going to gain about 4. Result of the carry from Gibson will bring up second down and 6 for the Eagles. Gibson's definitely going to sleep good tonight. They have used his running abilities about as strong as an ox as we cross the minute mark remaining in the first quarter of play. This game has flown about as fast as the parachuters who flew in with the Texas and American flags respectively pregame. They're only going to give Gibson 3, so change that. Make it second down and 7. Ball still on the 47-yard line. Gonzalez in motion. They're going to hand it off this time to Moore, and Moore gets stuffed, but not before gaining around 2. Initial tackle was made by the Raiders' number 13, Max Carrillo, getting his second tackle of the game. The gain of 2 will make it third down and 5. 12 seconds remaining, and it seems like they'll just let the clock tick away as we've already gone through one quarter of football, and pretty much what everyone expected is what we've gotten. It's smash mouth football as the horn sounds, and we've gone through one. Back after this, we're still scoreless in a scouting report game of the week on the Antler Sports Network. The Tatum Eagles, as they open up this ball game already in a dogfight to open things up. We are gone through one quarter, looking to begin quarter number 2, and still scoreless. We didn't expect a lot of fireworks in this one. We expected good old-fashioned smash mouth East Texas football, and that's exactly what we've gotten. As we switch fields, third down and 5 after the last snap before, or the last offensive play before the end of the quarter. Fresh 12, and we're ready to go. Watson back in the gun. Has a tight end and 2 receivers. There's going to be a handoff to Gibson. Gibson up the outside. Goes past the 40. And is going to get an extra 2 balls on the ground. West Rusk might have it. Did West Rusk force their second turnover of the game? No, they did not. Instead, what would have been a fumble recovery in the second forced turnover for the Raiders is going to be a first down and 10 for the Eagles after the Gibson carry. 11 minutes and 40 seconds remaining in the first half of play. Be sure to stay with us for the HTO halftime refresh. We'll speak with the rest of the panel as well as get some extra scores from across the East Texas area. After the run is going to be first down and 10. Ball is placed at the 37-yard line as we cross the 11.5-minute mark. Watson in the gun. Takes a snap, looking right. Going to be a fade. Ball right along the numbers. It's hauled in by Bradley. Bradley turns the corner. 10-5, goal line, touchdown. Ja'Cory Bradley. We spoke to him when he played against West Rusk on the hardwood, and he's making plays on the gridiron too. Watson with a beautiful ball across the sideline, and Bradley did the rest. 37-yard touchdown snag. Connection from Watson to Bradley with 11:17 remaining. And what a way to get things started, as it seems like Keeling and company are going to go for 2, maybe so, and that's exactly what it looks like. Tatum is going to try to go for a little bit of the extra gusto to open things up. Heavy formation. Handoff over to the middle to Gibson. Gibson looking. He's pushing, and he might be short. No. Can only gain a couple of yards, but I'm sure the Eagles will be happy with that connection. It's 6-0. The Eagles swoop first. Back after this. This is Texas High School football on the Antler Sports Network.
A circus is fun, but it's not something that you should have in your backyard. I'm thankful we chose Yosemite for our roof. It looks great. They did an amazing job. But I guess some people like the circus.
In a world filled with chaos and the unexpected, you can always count on Yosemite for your roofing needs. Isn't that right, Nancy?
Back after this timeout, the Eagles strike first and get the game going with 11-15, a 37-yard pass from Watson to Bradley to give us our current 6-0 score. The first half, we pretty much didn't see a lot in terms of offense, but how about that to open up the second quarter? Is exactly what we expected. Tatum using the athleticism, the speed, and their size of their receiving core to break into the end zone. Here to boot things back off for the Tatum Eagles as Wes Rusk will go from left to right on your respective device as we wait to try to get a number on the respective kicker. Giddings back deep for the Raiders. Ball's teed up right at the 40-yard line. Looks like it's going to be the Eagles' number 10, Cohen Kiefer, to get things going. The right-legged kicker, pooch kick, not a lot of distance, travels enough room. Tatum tried to save it. It looks like they did. It's hauled in. The Eagles have the football by Hennigan. As Hennigan got the ball saved, as the first one to get on it was Chambers. Chambers skying through, staying in bounds to toss it behind him and keep it. And a Hennigan right behind him swoops in, keeps it in bounds, and gives the Eagles first down and 10. All right. Well, that's something. 11-12 remaining in this one, and Tatum getting things going already as momentum remains on their side. It's already 6-0. And Eagles already well within West Rusk territory. That's Watson and the Tatum offense trot back onto the field. It's going to be first down and 10 from the 36-yard line. After the Chambers to Hennigan connection on the saved kickoff. Watson is going to keep it. Turns the corner, breaks a tackle, breaks another tackle, breaks a third and a fourth, still moving. He might have gained about 13 yards after contact. And what could have been a 4-yard rush turns into a gain of almost 20. As Watson running with a purpose already, but there is a flag back at the line of scrimmage. Chop block penalty called against the Eagles. And that'll pretty much negate that big-time Watson run as Coach Keeling is not happy. I feel sorry for that headset. Every time Coach Keeling gets upset, I get afraid that he might try to throw the headset. And I know one thing. I'm not the richest man in the world, but I know those headsets are not cheap. 11:02 remaining in quarter number 2. After the penalty, that's going to make it first down and a country mile. First down and 20 now for the Eagles. Ball's on the 49-yard line. 10:50 and counting in the quarter number 2. Gibson, no, it's going to be a fake. It's a toss-off from Watson. Gonzalez has space, has a good block upfield. Gets the ball from Singler. The 10-5 goal line. Touchdown, Eagles. Tatum strikes again. This time, Carson Gonzalez takes it 51 yards to the house. We knew the run game was going to be the way the Eagles took over this game. And what did you know it? That's exactly how they've extended this lead now to 2 possessions. And that touchdown is brought to you by Tinsley Title, proud new sponsor of the Antler Sports Network. Tatum once again going to go for 2 with 10:39 remaining in this one. It's going to be a toss to the outside, this time to Singler. Singler jukes one man, jukes another, has maybe one more tackle to break, pushes through, gets it into the end zone, 2-point conversion, it's good. And now, after the big-time 51-yard run and the 2-point conversion, it's Tatum 14, West Rusk nothing. Back in 30 seconds, this is Texas High School football on the Antler Sports Network.
Give it everything. And Pelche, Key, and Tyler were tough, never quits.
It was a big-time run from Gonzalez that set up the score and set up this 14-0 lead, as now it is all Eagles to open up this game. 51 yards. Well, the good old-fashioned house call was all the Eagles needed after the chop block penalty made it a 1st and 20. Gonzalez said, okay, 20 yards. Add about 31 more to that. After the run with 10:39 remaining in half number 1, it's Tatum 14, West Rusk nothing in this scouting report game of the week on the Antler Sports Network. Eagles ready to boot things back off. Plenty of fans on both sides. Short kick, probably not going to get 10 yards. And it isn't. And marking it down, of course, with the flag, is going to be Dustin Hennigan. As the Eagles come back to the sideline, cheerleaders throwing shirts. I wonder if a cheerleader could possibly get a shirt into the small gap we have here.
No.
If a cheerleader can get the shirt through this window, I think Watson might have to be weary of his job. Either way, 1st down and 10 this time for the Raiders. Still plenty of football left to be played. 10:38 remaining, only down 2 possessions. As the Raiders this season have already scored 14, 31, and 33 points. So putting points up on the board as the season goes on, it's definitely something they won't have to worry about. Ball is right on the 50. Lone receiver on the wide side of the field is Kemontre McGregor. McGregor getting single covered by Ja'Cory Bradley, who had the first touchdown for the Eagles and of this ball game. It's 1st and 10. Mason making a couple adjustments at the line of scrimmage. Murphy is the back to his right. Tatum looking to send the blitz, and they indeed do. Option now is going to be pitch out to Mason. Mason to the pitch out to Murphy. Murphy is going to get about 10 yards, and that's exactly what he'll need after the tackle was made by Bradley. Bradley, his first tackle of the game. And Murphy so far has had a pretty good job on those outside runs. And one thing about both of these quarterbacks for both of the respective teams, in Mason and Watson, they're very patient in the option gain. After the gain of 9, that's going to make it 2nd down and maybe the length of the football to go. 2 receivers, same formation as the previous play. Mason and Murphy, the battery in the backfield. There's going to be a delayed handoff. Murphy gets drugged down. Fantastic, good old-fashioned fundamental tackle by Xavier Moore. But did he get it? Yes, he did. 1st down and 10 as the Raiders move the chains. 9:53 remaining in half number 1. West Rusk with all 3 of their timeouts. Tatum with 2. This is our first scouting report game of the week. Next week, next Friday night, we'll be staying in East Texas as the Nacogdoches Dragons will head down to Smith County to take on the White House Wildcats. Faked handoff, Mason with the keeper. Has defensive trailing on him. He gets popped out of bounds. Hit made by Quardai Peoples. That's Peoples with the force of 1,000 men. Hits Mason out of bounds. But not before Mason get a pretty good gain. 2nd down after the gain of about 6. We'll make it 2nd and 4. Ball's right on the 30-yard line. 9.5 minutes remaining in this one. 19 seconds on the play clock. The Raiders offense in their beautiful all-white tops and bottoms. Sometimes you just can't beat a good old-fashioned all-white uniform. And the beautiful Carolina blue helmets. Mason in the gun, looking at Murphy, and they eventually skied up to him. He hauls it in, spins off a hit, gets the first down, and a possible touchdown-saving tackle there for Jamarian Butler. Second first down of this drive for West Rusk, and easily the best drive they've had all game long. Had to punt their last 2 offensive possessions. Now knocking on the door of the Eagle red zone. 9:15 remaining in half number 1. Ball's on the 23-yard line. Wide side receiver for the Raiders is McGregor once more. Mason takes a snap, looking across the middle, gets a fade ball to his left, has separation. Did he haul it in? Yes, he did. Touchdown, Raiders. You know the saying we like here on the Antler Sports Network, big-time players make big-time plays. And that is a prime example as we check out the replay. Mason with a beautiful ball and an even better catch to put the Raiders on the board, barring the PAT. 8:56 remaining. Awaiting the hold and snap is Mason. The snap is good, the hold is good, the kick is through the uprights and good, but there is a flag on the play, most likely against the Eagles. So I'm not a betting man, but I would say that this penalty will be declined. The officials talk it over right at the 10. Seem to have a bit of a switcheroo as Judson Dotson on my roster was number 22, but instead, well, he's number 3. But Dotson was the one penalty called against the Eagles, and the touchdown will stand. West Rusk Raiders not going away just yet. Still plenty of football to be played. After the touchdown, we have ourselves a ball game. Back after this. This is Texas High School football on the Antler Sports Network.
Give it everything. At Pelche Key and Tyler, we're tough, never quits.
It was a touchdown catch that gave the Raiders hope, and hope is all a team needs. Of course, the penalty will mean that the Raiders get to tee things off from the opposite 45-yard line. Rush kick, looks like an onside opportunity here. They got the blocks. Did the ball travel 10 yards? Ball is still loose. The Raiders pick it up. I don't see any flags, at least at this time. I don't think it went 10 yards. It was a West Rusk Raider that touched the ball initially. So it seemed like the officials are going to talk it over again. Nope, it's going to be first down and 10 for Tatum. Ball is going to be placed right at the 40-yard line. Check that, make it the 39-yard line. As the Eagle offense steps back onto the field with 8:56 remaining, be sure to stay with us for the HTO halftime refresh. Brought to you by HTO, your hometown drink stop, an official drink of the Antler Sports Network. It's going to be a handoff to Gibson. Gibson gets clobbered, but not before gaining about 2. That'll make it second down and 8 to go for the Eagles. Ball is going to be at around the 41-yard line. And this is about the time where both teams start to get tired. And when you have 2 ground-and-pound teams like this, a lot of hitting, a lot of running, and a lot of huffing and puffing. Thankfully, they have a lot of high-quality H2O on the sideline. And speaking of H2O, we'd like to welcome our newest sponsor of the Antler Sports Network, based out of Tyler, H2Go. Right along Broadway Avenue across from the 7-Eleven as Watson takes a low snap, fumbles it, but picks it back up. Possibly has space if he can break a tackle, but he doesn't, but not before crossing midfield as Watson's gain of about 12 makes it first down and 10. The tackle for West Rusk was made by Xander Mason. Mason, the quarterback, already has his third tackle of the evening. Clock rolling. 8 minutes remaining in the first half. Ball's on the 47-yard line. Out of both of these teams, the Raiders of West Rusk were the last ones to have an undefeated season, as the Raiders had an undefeated regular season back in 2021. Watson, shotgun snap, looking for Bradley in the flat, but incomplete. In tow for the Raiders was Giddings yet again, and it's been pretty much Giddings and Bradley going one-on-one in single coverage against each other on offense and defense all game long. The incompletion will bring up second down and 10. 7:39 remaining in the second. Both teams getting play calls from their respective sidelines. Bunched up formation, only 2 receivers and 2 tight ends for the Eagles. Watson under center is going to keep it, looking to make the pitch, but it's going to break a tackle. He's got space at the 35, 30, 30, 25, still going, gets pushed out of bounds at about the 25-yard line. Touchdown-saving tackle was made by Dotson as the Eagles move the chains yet again. Gain of 22 on that one makes it first down and 10, of course, for Tatum. 7:32 remaining in the second. West Rusk on their last possession, hitting the end zone and keeping it a one-possession game. The Eagles with a 14-7 advantage. Watson in the gun, takes a snap, looking left, looking for the fade ball. He gets it off, has a tall receiver downfield, incomplete. Dotson and Carrillo in coverage, doing a great job not to draw a flag, as that was a big target there for Watson, as the pass was intended for Tapley. Now check that for Chambers. Chambers standing at about 6'4", 200 pounds even. You don't have to have the eyes of an eagle or a hawk to see that that is a massive human being. The incompletion brings up second down and 10. 7:27. Ball is on the 25-yard line. Man in motion. Watson in the gun. Hands it off. No, keeps it. And a helmet gets thrown off and a flag is thrown. That's probably going to be a horse collar. Quote-unquote tackle was made by the junior Cameron Robinson. Flag is indeed against Robinson, as a quick substitution is made for the Raiders defense. And as the umpire for the game, Billy Coward, will advance the ball forward, marking it first down and 10 from about the 12-yard line for the Eagles. 7:21. Clock now rolls. Ball's now on the 12. Lone receivers are Bradley and Chambers, 2 big targets. It's going to be a quick handoff to Gibson. Gibson up the middle, breaks an initial tackle, but is driven, and is going to gain about 3, maybe 4. No, the officials are going to give him about 5. Once again, Robinson on the tackle. Robinson has been wreaking havoc on Gibson and the rest of this Tatum offense. Already has 4 tackles in this game. 6:50, clock still rolling. Gain of about 3. They're going to make it second and 7. Tatum slowing things down a lot more as this game transpires. As expected, they run a very brutal offense with 6:34 remaining in the first half. 7 on the play clock now. Watson is going to keep it. Turns upfield. Ball almost came loose, but thankfully he hangs on to it. And that's going to be a gain of about 3. Tackle was made by the Raiders' number 2, Jace Reisner. Reisner got there, no pun intended, a pretty reasonable amount of time. 6:12 remaining in quarter number 2. Gain of 4 from Watson is going to make it 3rd down and 3. Bradley and Chambers yet again on the outside. Watson under center. Has Gonzalez in motion. And a flag pre-snap is thrown. A lot of movement up front from both teams before the play commenced, as the officials will convene yet again. Offsides penalty called against the Raiders. Result of the penalty will make it half the distance to the goal. I'll make this 4th down a tad bit easier. The dial down is reading 3rd. The scoreboard was reading 4th, but now it's reading 3rd. Glad to see everybody nice and homogeneous here at Eagle Stadium. A nice, small, intimate stadium indeed. Rodriguez now instructing the clock to roll, and it does. 5:45 remaining in half number 1. 16 on the play clock. Watson under center yet again. Gibson the back. They're going to hand it out to him right up the middle, right down Main Street into the mayor's office. Touchdown, Eagles. The Eagles' rushing attack has been working all game. And if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Gibson with a tough 3-yard run to get into the end zone and finish off this long Eagle drive with 6 extra points. .537 remaining after the Gibson touchdown. And, of course, the Eagles going for 2. Watson now in the gun after spending most of the drive under center. Watson takes it, gives the handoff to Gibson. Into the end zone. 2-point conversion is good. And that will continue the scoring for the Eagles. The rushing attack continues. Tatum, 22. West Rusk, 7. Back in 30 seconds. This is Texas High School football on the Antler Sports Network. After the rushing touchdown from Gibson from 3 yards, the scoring continues and the Eagles extend their lead. 5:37 left to go in this first half of play, and Tatum with a commanding 22-7 lead over the Raiders of West Rusk. The Scouting Report Game of the Week is brought to you by Matt Oswald and our great partners over at Scouting Report. Been with the Antler Sports Network since the very beginning. Scouting Report is the official recruiting platform of the Antler Sports Network. Many of the athletes on the field here tonight are using the platform in order to get extra looks from colleges and other schools from across the country. And your athlete could be next. Cole Watson, the man who has definitely left his print on this game, is on Scouting Report. Why can't your athlete? Go online at scoutingreport.org for more details. Booch kick, not a lot of distance, is up in the air from Kiefer. The Raiders will haul it in at about the 35-yard line, and that's where they will take it back over. First down and 10 to go. The 2-point conversion game has been pretty successful, where most teams might be afraid to go for 2. I guess you could say Coach Keeling and company embrace the 2-point conversion with 5:34 remaining and a new opportunity for the Raiders to get back onto the scoreboard. They've already scored once in this game from the big-time catch from Mason to Dotson. Maybe they could connect once again on this fourth offensive drive of the ball game for the Raiders. 5:34 remaining in the first half. First down and 10, balls on the 35 after the short kick from Kiefer. Mason in the gun has Murphy as the lone back to his left. Only one receiver on the far side of your screen. Is going to hand it off to Murphy. Murphy has a little bit of space, breaks a tackle, but gets spun down just short. Tackle was made by Quarty Peoples, and Peoples, the sophomore, hobbling after that one. That was a rough tackle but not before Murphy could drag his way to about a gain of 8, making it 2nd down and about 2, barring the official spot. Two receivers now for the Raiders this play. Those receivers are both Dotson and McGregor. Mason takes a snap. Looks like it's going to be an option. He's going to keep it. Mason spins, protecting himself. Great job there to avoid the hit. Belaying the lick before he could go down was Connor Tapley. But instead of the big hit for Tatum, they'll have to settle for the Raiders getting a 1st down and 10 and moving the chains. Ball on the 49-yard line, clock rolling. 4:44 remaining in quarter numeral dos. 22-7, your score as the Raiders are driving down the field with still plenty of time and all 3 of their timeouts in hand. Here's the handoff now. Noah's going to be a keeper. Mason kept it and slamming him down well behind the line of scrimmage is Sailor Nance. Nance leaving no chance for Mason to get any yardage there well behind the line of scrimmage, and that'll make it 2nd down and a country mile for the Raiders. Second down and 19 will be the official spot. The Raiders in their all-white tops and bottoms. Tatum in the green tops, white bottoms. Mason shaking that last play off. Now has Murphy the back to his left. 2 receivers. Check that 3 with 1 of the slide. Looking to the outside. It's a pass to the flat. It's hauled in by Dotson. Dotson jukes to his left, right across the 50. Gets brought down about the 45-yard line. And that's going to make it a pretty sizable and manageable 3rd down. About 3rd down and 4. They need to get to the 39-yard line. Dotson with his 3rd catch of the game. Easily has been the Raiders' most consistent offensive weapon, at least receiving-wise, in the early stages of this game. Big 3rd down now for the Tatum defense. 3 minutes, 20 seconds remaining. Ball's on the 45. Mason takes a shotgun snap, immediate pressure. He gets it off. It's over to Murphy. Murphy barreling through, almost getting brought down, and he does eventually get brought down. Initially on the hit for the Eagles. Guess who? The quarterback, Cole Watson, the junior, making his snaps count. The Raiders will move the chains yet again. And like a locomotive, the Raiders will march on. 3 minutes remaining in the 2nd quarter of play. Score still 22-7 in favor of the Eagles. Ball's on the 37-yard line. Mason gets hit as he throws it. It's almost intercepted. Incomplete pass. Man, what an opportunity for the Eagle defense as Peoples crying out in agony as he was a good mere centimeters away from what could have been a pick 6. But instead, they'll have to deal with 2nd down and 10. Mason took a massive hit to almost force an interception. Ball still on the 37, 2:55 remaining, Mason in the gun. Looking, and this was picked off, intercepted by the Eagles, and they've got room. Going down the sideline now with Singler. Singler gets brought down at about the 45-yard line. And, well, dare I say karma? I don't know. I don't know what to describe that one, but the best way to say it is an interception in Eagle football. 1st down and 10. What was almost an interception by Peoples a mere play ago turns into a guaranteed interception by Singler. Singler, good old-fashioned right place, right time with 2:46 left to go. And the Eagles with 2 timeouts in hand and plenty of time remaining. This could possibly be the way they run the football the last drive of the 1st half. The Raiders will receive the 2nd half kickoff. We're 2 minutes and 46 seconds away from the HTO halftime refresh. I'll discuss with the panel what we saw from both of these teams and take a look at some local East Texas scores under the Friday Night Lights. 1st down and 10 for the Eagles. Mason in the gun. 3 receivers. Singler now in motion, going from his right to his left. Plenty of space, plenty of time. Deep ball from Watson is caught. No! Bradley had it in his hands, took about 2 steps, but dropped it. The quarterback, Xander Mason, was right behind him. Might have even had a hand on that ball, but instead it's going to be 2nd down and 10. Man, Bradley's got to be looking at his hands, wondering how his own hands deceived him. That easily could have been 6. Tatum's receiving corps has had little to no trouble getting off of the line of scrimmage against this West Rusk secondary. Watson has pretty much been putting the football on a dime all night long, and now it looks like it's going to be running time. Back to the Eagles' bread and butter. It's going to be a keeper option now for Watson. He's going to take it himself at the 40, still breaking off tackles, but eventually gets brought down at about the 25-yard line. Clock will roll as soon as the chains move. Watson a little slow to get up, and I definitely hold my breath whenever Watson is a bit slow to get up, especially if you're an Eagle fan. But he seems to be back up and still good to go. 2.5 remaining in quarter number 2. Score still 22-7. Ball now on the 26-yard line. Fresh set of downs for the Eagles. After the big-time Watson run. Watson under center. He's going to give it up to Singler. Singler turning the corner. Maybe has some room on the outside, and he does. Gets the first down and pitter-patters out of bounds to move the chains yet again. It has been speed on top of speed on top of speed for the Tatum offense as they continue to march down the field with a hair over 2 minutes remaining. When I thought it was going to be a first down, no, they're going to mark him short. Make that second down and 1. Definitely had me fooled. 14 seconds on the play clock now. The Tatum Eagle offense disperses, approaches the line of scrimmage. Watson under center. It's going to be a handoff to Gibson. Gibson breaks the corner up the middle, maybe has some room, and it's definitely going to get the first down this go around. As the chains will move inside the 10, making it first and goal for the Eagles. Inside of 2 minutes now. As now looks like the Eagles are going to take every single second they can. 1:45 remaining, 18 on the play clock. Watson under center yet again. Calls to Gibson behind him. Takes the snap, fade ball, back of the end zone. Caught, did he get the feet in? No, incomplete. Beautiful pass there from Watson. Definitely had the air. The Lieutenant receiver just couldn't haul it in. As Bradley definitely had the verticality. Great job high pointing the ball, just couldn't haul it in. And the Eagles will have to settle now for second and goal. Quick substitution now after the big time play. Bradley will get a much deserved rest. It's now ground and pound. Ball's on the ground yet again for the Eagles. They're just short, but ever so closer to the elusive end zone. 1:20 remaining in the first half. It's third and goal now for the Eagles. West Rusk holding firm at the line. I hope the trainers have an ice bath ready for Gibson after this one, because he is going to need it. He has been the ox of the Eagle offense so far this game. 1 minute remaining in this one. Watson surveying the Raider defense. Goes under center, puts a man in motion. It's going to be a quick handoff to Gibson, but he's stopped right at the line of scrimmage. If anything, might have even lost a yard or two. West Rusk was right on him, and now it's going to be fourth down. This is the best West Rusk has done at stopping the Eagle run all game long. Not a better time like the present. 25 seconds remaining. Ball's now on the 2. The Raiders need just one more stop. And it looks like the Eagles are just going to pack it up and take it into the locker room as the Eagles trot off the field with 5 seconds left. 4, 3, 2, and 1. And that'll conclude our first half of play. We've played 2 halves of football and have definitely seen plenty of action. The Tatum Eagles 22, the West Rusk Raiders 7. We're going to take a 3-minute timeout, and when we come back, it's the HTO halftime refresh. Back after this is Texas High School football on the Antler Sports Network. We're going to go back to halftime, but it seems that Tatum called a timeout with 1 second to go and punched it into the end zone for a touchdown. So how about that? Coach Whitney Keeling definitely fooling me. Used a timeout right at the end of the half and pushed it into the end zone, and now the score is 28-7. 2-point conversion now pending for Watson and company. Watson hands it off. He gets it over to Moore. Did Moore punch it in? And he did. 2-point conversion is good. And now, let's try this again. After 2 quarters of play, we're heading to halftime. We're going to take another 3-minute timeout. And afterwards, we'll have the HTO halftime refresh. Back after this in 3 minutes. This is Texas High School football on the Antler Sports Network.
Street Pharmacy and Medical Supply offers a complete approach to health and healing, providing prescriptions and medical supplies from one team who understands you and your lifestyle needs. Professional friendly service, providing the best care possible. Brick Street Pharmacy and Medical Supply. Brick Street Pharmacy and Medical Supply introduces the U-Step Laser Walker, providing Parkinson patients new freedom. A laser line visually prompts each step, so you walk normally and stay in control, preventing rollaways. Now available at Brick Street Pharmacy and Medical Supply.
It's been an offensive onslaught for both of these teams, and we've hit halftime of this scouting report game of the week between the West Rusk Raiders and the Tatum Eagles. Jared Jones and a new face for the Antler Sports Network faithful in the booth with me this evening. So, take it away.
Yes, sir, Jared. This is Randy Johnson. I've been a longtime broadcaster in the area. 22, 23 seasons of football and baseball all together since 1996. You were just a gleam in your mother's eye. Well, that's what you were in 1996. And I was 32 years old then. I'm closing in on 60. And I've had a lot of years in the Tyler market and Longview market, broadcasting mostly football. Like I say, 21 years of the last 25 and 3 years of Lobo baseball when head coach Bernie Martinez was there from 2013 to 2016. So I've missed a couple of football seasons. I follow I follow the Lobos as I'm a graduate of Longview High. And I follow my alma mater, the University of Texas, which I know you love so much.
Yep.
But anyway, I'm here joining you tonight. I've seen Tatum play a couple times over the last few years namely against White Oak and Gladewater. And back here tonight, first time in the press box, it's a nice little place for a 3A school. They got a little pad here in Tatum, and it's really nice. As the West Rusk band is on the field, you can get tongue-tied really easily saying West Rusk, West Rusk, West Rusk. So anyway, I'll be joining tomorrow night on the Antler Sports Network calling Texas College against Ottawa University of Arizona, or as they say, OU Arizona. They're in Tyler at 6 p.m. in an NAIA Sooner conference battle, the first conference game of the year, and I'm looking forward to that. And like I said, I've done play-by-play about 10 years of my calling and 13 years of color analyst play. I worked for KTBB back in the day with a guy named David Smoke. I was his color commentator and watched Robert E. Lee win a state championship. Well, their legacy now. Robert E. Lee win a state championship in 2004. You were just a 1-year-old in 2004. I'm going to rub it in a little bit, you TCU Horned Frog. You were just a 1-year-old when Tyler Lee took out Spring Westfield of Houston at the Alamo Dome by the score of 35-32, I do believe was the final. And it's Robert E. Lee's only state title. And they visited the year before. I was talking to you yesterday, and Matt Flynn, who played at LSU, was a senior the year before, and they lost to Midland High at Texas Stadium in the state semifinals. Then that year, Tyrone Ross was the star running back for Lee. He came back his senior year, and they won the state title, along with players like Saron Black, and Josh Hill was the quarterback. So that's been 19 years ago, if I'm doing my math correctly. And I hit 60 years old myself in January. We'll talk about the game here tonight. As you mentioned, Tatum really has taken control since the beginning of the second quarter. They scored all their points in the second quarter en route to this 30-7 lead. And they've done it largely behind the quarterback Watson, throwing the ball deep and running the ball as well, running that counter option is what I would call it, or a veer, if you will. And that's what Whitney Keeling's famous for. And as you mentioned early in the game, he led Wascom High to 2 state titles in the last decade. Came here last year. He brought Gonzalez and Watson with him. Their dads are assistant coaches, I do believe, on this staff. And it's a pretty nice, grounded-out type of play, throwing in the occasional pass. They'll throw the ball 10 to 12 times a game, and really they've run it down the throat of the Blue Raiders from Rusk County, far south Gregg County, or Rusk County, far northwest Rusk County, there near Overton and New London. And being born and raised in Longview, I know the history pretty well. I'm older than I-20. As it opened in 1968, I remember when the interstate opened. I was just a 4-year-old boy, but it was a big deal. The bands played on the tarmac, which is near what is now called Estes Parkway. Of course, Estes is named after the former publisher and owner of the Longview News Journal, newspaper from way back when, back from the 30s all the way into the 70s, late 60s before he passed away. And a guy named Laterno, as in Laterno University, paved the interstate. With his company, he builds a gigantic front-end loaders. And many years, well, not too long ago, I was a computer programmer at Laterno. And then it became Joey Global, and now it's Komatsu in South Longview. Of course, the university is going to survive and always be Laterno University, and it's kind of a little hidden gem in South Longview. But tonight, this game right now, 30-7, all the points scored in the second quarter. Is that correct? I do believe so.
I do believe so.
0-0 after the first quarter, and it's been pretty much a grounded out, pounded out. And I believe Tatum scored 4 consecutive times now to take this 30-7 lead. So it's been pretty entertaining. Like I said, I've been here a couple times. They've got a really, really nice facility. Been here about 12 or 13 years or thereabouts. Their basketball facility is even nicer. And you've been impressed with it as you called the game here in both venues now, right here on the campus of Tatum High. I'm 22 miles due north back in Longview where I live, where I grew up. And I grew up about 2.5 miles north of I-20. So it's always been in my life as far back as I can remember. But I tell people that I'm older than the interstate. I don't necessarily look it, but I am. And I'm going to have fun tomorrow night with Texas College. The Steers are going to host OUAZ, or OAZ. They don't like to be called Ottawa, but that's the name of their school. And if they're listening now, that'll be all right. I'm not going to offend anybody. I don't mean to. But here we go. The West Rusk band is still in the field. And the Tatum band, somewhere down there, unless that is the Tatum band, I don't know. One of the bands on the field, the crowd's applauding. That is the Tatum band now. The West Rusk is, Tatum's across the way waiting in their green and white. So that's what we have right here, 30-7 at halftime on the Antler Sports Network. And I like the title lead-in that you used to with the recruiting, how do you call it? The recruit.
Our fantastic friends over at Scouting Report.
The Scouting Report. It's an actual company?
Indeed it is.
No kidding.
Yes, sir.
I really haven't ever heard of it. Like I said, I've spent a lot of time doing radio call and internet call for Robert E. Lee, Longview High. I did a 2-year production for a company called Me TV, or On Me TV, and did that for about 3 seasons. And most recently, I've done Pine Tree High School football in Longview on the internet 2019, 2020, and 2021. So I just kind of got called in the business. It's probably my calling that I like to say, because I've got the gift for gab, as you do too. But we have a little bit different styles. I'm just an old man, and you're a young buck. Here, I'll throw it back to you now, buddy.
Thank you, Randy, and welcome officially to the Antler Sports Net. We're looking forward to having you call multiple games across all of our fantastic sports. Well, we've still got plenty of time in the HTO halftime refresh with the Tatum Eagles leading over the West Rusk Raiders by a score of 30-7. We'll take another 3-minute timeout back after this. This is a Scouting Report Game of the Week on the Antler Sports Network.
Street Pharmacy and Medical Supply offers a complete approach to health and healing, providing prescriptions and medical supplies from one team who understands you and your lifestyle needs. Professional friendly service, providing the best care possible. Brick Street Pharmacy and Medical Supply. Brick Street Pharmacy and Medical Supply introduces the U-Step Laser Walker, providing Parkinson patients new freedom. A laser line visually prompts each step, so you walk normally and stay in control, preventing rollaways. Now available at Brick Street Pharmacy and Medical Supply.
back at halftime below the lights here at Tatum Eagle Stadium. Fantastic Tatum Eagle Stadium as the West Rusk High School Marching Raider Band steps off to the field after their fantastic performances. Speaking of performances, we're at half, 30-7 advantage Tatum. Let's look at some scores from across the East Texas landscape. Let's go by classification. Only lone East Texas game in 6A. The Texarkana High Tigers currently losing to the Legacy Red Raiders of Tyler in the second quarter. Score 14-7, advantage Tyler. Moving on to 5A, Tyler High blanking North Mesquite as of right now in the first quarter. The Lions of Tyler High up 21-0. Second quarter action, White House 21, Henderson 12. First quarter as the top-ranked Chapel Hill Bulldogs are ahead of the Nacogdoches Dragons by a score of 7-0. The Carthage Bulldogs also in the second quarter up 14-0 on Marshall. Pine Tree and Jacksonville, the Pirates beating the Indians right now in the second, 7-0. Hallsville, as of right now, past the Kilgore Bulldogs on the ropes, up 6-0 in the first. Mount Pleasant up on Frisco Emerson. That game is tied now, 7-7 in the second quarter. And what some consider not just the biggest game in East Texas, probably one of the biggest games of the state, as Lufkin is currently down against the Lobos of Longview 14-0 in the second quarter. Moving on to 4A now. Alvarado currently losing to the Eagles of Rusk, led by former Chapel Hill Bulldog Thomas Sitton. In the first quarter, score is 9-0. Dangerfield in a much lower scoring affair against a high-powered center offense. The Tigers are currently beating the Rough Riders 7-0 in the second quarter. Bullard and Mineola in the first, scoreless. Atlanta, the Jackrabbits defeating Liberty Iolu in the second quarter, 8-0. Brownsboro and Spring Hill scoreless in the second. Prosper Walnut Grove in their first season of Texas high school football out of Prosper ISD, currently down against the Wildcats of Palestine, 14-6 in the second quarter. Lindale 7, Gilmer nothing in the first quarter of play. Paris Wildcats and the Van Vandals tied 7-7 in the second quarter. Still no reported score from Canton versus Maybank or Athens versus Kaufman. Moving down to 2A and 3A, Brick Hill blanking the Roughnecks of White Oak in the first, 21-0. Timpson blanking Whitney Keeling's former Wascom Wildcats 28-0 in the first quarter. Of course, our game here, Tatum 30, West Rusk 7 at the half. And finally, let's take a look at one more score. Let's go for Tenaha and ARP. The Tenaha Tigers defeating the ARP Tigers in an all-Tiger affair. Tony will be proud. 7-0 advantage Tenaha in the first. We'll take one more 3-minute break. Back after this. This is the HTO halftime refresh on the Antler Sports Network.
Street Pharmacy and Medical Supply offers a complete approach to health and healing, providing prescriptions and medical supplies from one team who understands you and your lifestyle needs. Professional, friendly service, providing the best care possible. Brick Street Pharmacy and Medical Supply. Brick Street Pharmacy and Medical Supply introduces the U-Step Laser Walker, providing Parkinson patients new freedom. A laser line visually prompts each step so you walk normally and stay in control, preventing rollaways. Now available at Brick Street Pharmacy and Medical Supply.
Back at halftime, score sitting at Tatum 30, West Rusk to 7. And you know, as a former band student myself, you know it's Texas high school football when any band is playing Land of 1,000 Dancers. Want to give a quick shout out to my good buddy of mine, almost a guy I consider a brother to me, and West Rusk native, Mr. Paul Magnus, giving us the updated score of the the White Oak Roughnecks, currently going against the Brook Hill Guard. That game has hit the half. Almost a similar score to our current game. White Oak down 35-6 against the Guard of Brook Hill. But we still have halftime action here. But while we have this moment, let's take a second to look at the remaining Antler Sports Network broadcast, at least for our high school football slate. Next week, that is September 22nd, we're heading back to Smith County as the Nacogdoches Dragons, led by head coach Darby House, are taking on the Wildcats of White House. Kickoff for that game expected to be 7:30. That game will be on Antler Sports Network 1. That very next week, second game to be determined, but we will have one game on ASN Radio. That is also a scouting report game of the week, as Coach Maggie and his Cayuga Wildcats will be hosting the Crossroads Bobcats in an all-Malakoff area affair. I call it the Postman's Cup. Nick Jordan, as of right now, another new member of the Antler Sports Network, our head writer, will be on the call for that one. Be sure to check us on social media, on all our social media platforms, to see if the Antler Sports Network will be simulcasting any games on the night of September 29th. We'll have a special Thursday game on October 5th. We'll be heading back up to Dallas as the Bison of Dallas Sunset will be traveling to Carrollton at Standard Stadium to take on the Trojans of Newman Smith. That game is an Hispanic Texas High School Football Coaches Association game of the week. October 13th, heading back to East Texas as Gladewater will host Sabine from James Banberg Stadium. Kickoff from that one expected to be at about 7:30. After that, for the very first time, the Antler Sports Network will be going to Alamo Town, San Antonio bound, on October 20th, as the Hurricanes of Sam Houston will be taking on the Eagles of Brackenridge live from Alamo Stadium. Kickoff from San An expected to be at about 7 o'clock on ASN1. That is a special Hispanic Texas High School Football Coaches Association game of the week. After that, arguably the game of the year on October 27th, as two Dallas State champions will face off, as the Duncanville Panthers will be traveling to DeSoto to take on the DeSoto Eagles. Kickoff from DeSoto Eagle Stadium at about 7 o'clock. Also an Hispanic Texas High School Football Coach Association game of the week. And in Week 11 on November 3rd, we'll round our season off, at least our high school regular season football broadcast slate off, as Big Sandy will be traveling to take on the Hawks of Hawkins from Low Rance Field. That last game on ASN2, and will be a scouting report game of the week. We'll take our final timeout. After this, it's second half football. Tatum 30, West Rusk at 7. This has been the HTO halftime refresh. Second half action coming up after this. This is Texas High School football on the Antler Sports Network.
Street Pharmacy and Medical Supply offers a complete approach to health and healing, providing prescriptions and medical supplies from one team who understands you and your lifestyle needs. Professional friendly service, providing the best care possible. Brick Street Pharmacy and Medical Supply. Brick Street Pharmacy and Medical Supply introduces the U-Step Laser Walker, providing Parkinson patients new freedom. A laser line visually prompts each step, so you walk normally and stay in control, preventing rollaways. Now available at Brick Street Pharmacy and Medical Supply.
The time for rest is over. It's time for second half action here on the Antler Sports Network in this scouting report game of the week between the Eagles of Tatum and the Raiders of West Rusk. Jared Jones back with you guys here in the Yosemite Roofing broadcast booth. This game brought to you by Scouting Report, the official recruiting platform of the Antler Sports Network. Want to give a quick thank you to all of our sponsors for making all of these broadcasts possible. And be sure to follow the Antler Sports Network across all social media platforms to be updated on broadcast time changes, any delays, and additions to the broadcast slate. Tatum, of course, received the ball to open up the game. And so we'll kick things back off to the Raiders of West Rusk. The Raiders in their all-white tops and bottoms, baby blue helmets with the secondary West Rusk logo christened across the sides. As it seems like Kiefer is trying to get the ball teed up. Didn't want to cooperate the first time, but it seems to be all right and ready to go. Tatum in the green tops, white bottoms, white helmets with the big green tee across the helmets. And Kiefer sends it off. Not a lot of distance, plenty of height. Fair catch is called and hauled in by Giddings. And that's where West Rusk will open up their first possession of the second half of play. It's been all Eagles so far tonight, but West Rusk has been able to drive the ball downfield and even get some big-time stops against this Tatum offense. But can they string it together enough to get back into this game? Still plenty of football left. First 12 is on the clock. Ball is going to be placed right at the 40-yard line. Check that. They're going to move it up some. Ball will be placed on the 44. First and 10. With it now is Mason. Mason's going to hand it off to Murphy. Murphy punches through the Tatum defensive front, but isn't going to get very far. He might have gained 4. Result of the play is going to be second down and a good little distance to open up the drive. After the official marking, it is going to be second down and 6. Ball's right on the 48. If you're a big fan of the spread offense or anything that involves throwing the ball farther than 10 yards, this is definitely not the game for you. 11-20 and counting. And out to Murphy yet again, and he is slammed behind the backfield, and Alligator rolled down well behind the original line of scrimmage, and then some. Big-time tackle there from Sanchez, but forward progress will only make him lose about 3. Third down and 9 now. 10:55 remaining in quarter number 3. 20 seconds on the play clock. The Raider offense looking to the sideline for the offensive play call. Here's Mason in the gun. Takes a shotgun snap, immediately rolls out to his right. Looking downfield, has a big-time butt, winds up, lets it fly in double coverage. It's almost picked off, but it's tipped down incomplete. Luke Ziegler almost had his second interception of the game. With it was Bradley. Mason with a pretty throw, but a difficult throw indeed into double coverage, and that'll make it punt time with a 4th and 9 for Coach Mata and the Raider offense. It's the third time they've had to punt in this game. Back deep for the Eagles is going to be Carson Gonzalez. Gonzalez, the junior, wearing that big number 1 across his uniform. High snap for Dotson. Dotson hauls it in. Very high kick, not a lot of distance. Takes a bounce at about the 35 and gets a pretty good West Rusk roll. Still rolling. It'll get marked down right at about the 25 or the 24-yard line. That's as far as the ball will go. Ball gets down by Montrell Giddings. As now Tatum will get their first crack at an offensive drive for the first time in the second half of play. Tatum so far in this game has had absolutely no trouble getting exactly what they've wanted on the offensive front. As we look at some of the big-time plays that they've had, Watson with a big-time throw for Bradley was incomplete. But now, as the Eagle offense trots back onto the field, looking to convert yet again for points. Watson in the gun. It's going to be a handoff up the middle. Looks like it could possibly be a new running back. That new back is going to gain 2, making it second down and 8. No, it looks like it is Gibson. As Gibson has pretty much played almost every offensive snap in this one. Ball's on the 26, 9:50 remaining in this one. If you're West Rusk, you definitely want to get as many stops as you can and string together some points. as his rushing attack isn't going to leave the Raiders much time to get back into this ball game. Here's Watson. Watson fakes a handout, puts a big-time stiff arm, and moves the chains. First down and 10. Watson with a big-time run to move the chains yet again, as we take another look at that one. And Watson putting down the Raiders defender, making it an Eagle first down. Ball's on the 38. Watson looking. Has a man across the middle. It's hauled in by Gonzalez. Gonzalez turned and looked to get some extra yards, but is going to have to settle for about 4 to make it second down and 6.
Advance to the 42-yard line.
Got to take another look at that last Watson run, as Watson is definitely a pretty big quarterback and pretty difficult to try to bring down, as you can see on the stiff arm on that last play. Man in motion is going to be Gonzalez. Watson pitches out to Gonzalez, and he's got space. It's going to be a foot race. 40, 35, 30. Steps out of bounds at about the 32-yard line. And Gonzalez, man in motion, and a man on a mission on the big-time carry, as he saw nothing but green, and eventually gets brought down by Dotson, a potentially touchdown-saving tackle to move the chains yet again for the Eagles. 8:38 remaining in the third. Ball is on the 32 after the Gonzalez run. Here we go. Watson back in the gun. First down and 10. A tight end and 3 receivers, one on the slot, one on the short side of the field. Watson takes a snap, looking. Bomb downfield, open man, touchdown, Sutton 6 for the Eagles as they score yet again. The Eagles strike with the passing attack, something we've definitely know that they can attack from across all angles, and that's exactly what we've seen. It was set up by this Gonzalez run, and it was capped off by the beautiful throw in for Watson. As we take another look at our Pell Shea Kia replay, Watson easily had his man downfield, burnt both of the members of the secondary for West Rusk to get into the end zone. Now as we prepare for of course, the 2-point conversion. Stuffed behind the line of scrimmage, not going to get anywhere as Watson, and the Eagles will have to settle for 6 points. It was the Watson touchdown pass that put the Eagles back on the board. It'll keep them on the board yet again. It's 36-7. Back after this. This is Texas High School football on the Antler Sports Network. It was the Watson touchdown pass that continued the Eagles scoring, and now ready to kick things back off as the Raiders still have time to respond, but the clock slowly ticking away as the rushing attack continues to thrive. Current score now with 8:32 remaining. The Eagles 36, the West Rusk Raiders 7 in the third quarter of play. Kiefer looking to kick things back off again for Tatum. This time going to approach from the left side, still kicking from the right foot. Giddings on the kickoff. No, that's McGregor. Check that, hauling it in. He's going to get wrestled down, but gets a pretty good gain. Ball's going to be placed at the 38-yard line, and that's where the Raiders will take over first and 10. It's been all Eagle speed on this game as we take another look at what set up their last scoring drive. It was the Gonzalez run. And after that, it was, of course, the beautiful touchdown pass from Watson into the back of the end zone. A beautiful throw to increase the lead for the Eagles. But can't count the Raiders out yet. Still plenty of football left to be played. Here's Mason. Hands it off to Murphy. Murphy shrugs the defender off of him. He's going to get a fantastic gain on first down. Might have gotten 10. Got hit after a gain of 8, but yards after contact is where Murphy has thrived in this game. And yes, move the chains, first down and 10 for the Raiders. 8 minutes and ticking remaining as the chain crew a bit hesitant, but I can confirm it is indeed first down and 10. Ball is out about the 48. They're going to hand it off to Murphy yet again. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. As Murphy rumbling, stumbling, barreling his way through. He's going to get a pretty solid gain. That's going to be a good gain of about 6, making it second down and around 4 or 5. As Murphy has shown that he is arguably the most consistent athlete on this West Rusk offense. Here's the second down and 4 play. It's to Murphy yet again. Murphy bounces to the outside. He's got space at the 30, gets wrestled down at the 25. And yet again, Murphy strikes. It's been all Murphy this drive. And of course, Coach Mata probably looking for a nice Raider dog in this one, but he's got a dog on the field in Murphy with a fantastic run to move the chains yet again. First down and 10 for the Raiders. Ball now at about the 26-yard line. Hopefully, West Rusk tries to slow things down a tad bit. Of course, in moderation to try to get Murphy a break. But it's fair to say he's got the hot hand. Mason on the option. It's almost stolen away. It's behind the line of scrimmage, so it's a live ball. Trying to see who might have fallen on it. Looks like it was Murphy. Murphy cleaning up his own mess. Let's try to get a replay on that there. It was an option play, of course, for Mason. Mason pitched it out. It was tipped by an Eagle defender. Getting a hand on it was Harrison. But that'll make it a pretty difficult second down. Might be about second down and Interstate 20 to get to the line to gain. Second down and 21. No pun intended. Ball is on the 37-yard line now. Mason in the gun, has Murphy to his left. No, we got a new running back in now as they hand it off, and it's not going to get much farther, maybe to the original line of scrimmage. No, check that. It's going to get about 3, and we seem to have an injury timeout on the field. We have an injured Eagle, and as they tend to him, we'll take a timeout. Back after this is Texas High School football on the Antler Sports Network.
A circus is fun, but it's not something that you should have in your backyard. I'm thankful we chose Yosemite for our roof. It looks great. They did an amazing job. But I guess some people like the circus.
In a world filled with chaos and the unexpected, you can always count on Yosemite for your roofing needs. Isn't that right, Nancy?
The Tatum Eagle Stadium. I'm Randy Johnson. Checking in with another game, a big battle in Longview tonight where they're hosting the Lufkin Panthers. And Lufkin has a star defensive tackle by the name of Zion Williams, and he has come up injured in the middle of the second quarter. They've had to cart him off the field. He's a highly recruited junior, probably one of the top 5 to 7 defensive linemen in the entire country, and he's being carted off the field, and looks like he's going to miss the rest of this game and maybe more for Lufkin. Back to you.
Bad news, of course, there for the Panthers. A couple of weeks back, if you remember, we had carried Lufkin versus Nacogdoches over at Homer Bryce Stadium on the campus of SFA, and that was a pretty grit and grind game for the Panthers, similarly to both of the offenses here. But there seemed to have been a Raider that was cramped up and an injured Eagle. Definitely is a muggy night here in Tatum, Texas. Third down and 19 after the short gain for the Raiders. Ball still on the 35-yard line. Murphy going from a running back to now leaving Mason in an empty backfield as an outside receiver. Mason looking, winds up and throws, risky throw, and it's picked off almost into the end zone by Gianni Garza. And Garza gets wrestled down right at the 10-yard line. And Garza pretty much high-pointed that ball perfectly. As we take another look at it here, Garza just getting right on top of the football. Thought he was going to stay in the end zone and maybe take the touchback. But instead, Tatum will take over 1st and 10 for another offensive drive in this third quarter. 5:55 remaining in quarter number 3. Not to quote Cool in the Gang on this one, but the Eagles definitely have their backs against the wall. 36-7, the Eagles over the Raiders. Still 5:55 remaining. Watson and company looking to get things going here. Watson with a keeper, gets wrestled down, maybe behind the line of scrimmage. Tackle is going to be made by Cameron Robinson. Robinson, his 4th tackle of the game, his 3rd TFL for the game. No, check, that is not going to be a TFL, just a simple solo tackle. It'll be 2nd down and 10, ball still on the 5. 5.5 remaining in quarter number 3. As Robinson has had a pretty good evening of his own for the West Rusk front line. Here's Watson. Watson hands it off to the outside. Back Scott Spades gets bumped out of bounds. On the carry is going to be Jamarian Butler. Butler getting his first action of the evening. And what a good way to introduce yourself to the game with a good old-fashioned first down. Can't think of too many ways better than that to get the wheels going than to move the chains. Ball is going to be placed on the 15. Tatum breaking their huddle, as it looks like they're slowing down their pace even more as the quarter transpires. Now 5:10 remaining, 5 on the play clock. It's going to be a handoff to Butler yet again. Butler spins. Isn't going to get much farther, and the Raiders push him back, only allowing a gain of about 3, and that'll make it 2nd down and 7 for the Eagles. Check that. That's Gibson checking back into the game, as we have 5 minutes left, and the clock will roll.
2nd and 6 from the 19-yard line.
Officials will mark it 2nd down and 6. Again, want to give a thank you to the officiating crew of tonight's ball game, coming out of Tyler. Isn't that fitting? Tyler broadcaster, Tyler officiating crew. It's going to be a handoff, this time right up the gut to Sailor Nance, getting his first carry of the game. He's going to get a gain of about 4, making it 3rd down and 2. Correction, make it 3rd down and 1 for the Eagles, as they are just simply taking their time. We'd love to get a time of possession stat for both of these ball clubs. Handoff. This time is going to be to Nance, as Nance makes a big-time hit. Ball comes out, a helmet comes off. What a hit. Talk about trading some paint. As it is good enough for a first down, but that's some of the hardest 2 yards for a first down I've ever seen, and that could probably be play of the night. I don't even think Pelche Kia has trucks to the level that Nance just gave out. Ball now on the 35-yard line. 4 minutes remaining in this one. Gibson back at running back for the Eagles. They hand it off to him. He barrels his way through. Check that. Back is going to be Xavier Moore, as Moore is going to gain 9 and make a 2nd down and short. Well, you don't have to be a psychic, a betting man, or a wizard to tell Tatum is running this football to draw out as much clock as they can. 3.5 minutes now. 2nd down and 1 on the 44-yard line. Watson under center. 2 receivers, 1 in the slot. Man in motion. diving for the first down. The ball might have came loose. The Raiders say they have it. We're going to try to get a replay here to get a better view of things. And it is West Rusk football. Raiders force another turnover. So we'll take a second look at it here. Watson had put a man in motion, tried to dive for the first down, but the Raiders pretty much immediately fell on the football. And now the Raiders once again showing signs of life. The Eagles not out of the nest yet. 3:09 in the third quarter. I think I'm running out of bird puns. First down and 10 for the Raiders out of Rusk County. Arguably one of the most historic high schools in the state of Texas. As the handoff is over to Murphy. Murphy with a short gain is going to gain about 4. Of course, the famous West Rusk explosion and the New London explosion.
1937.
Back in 1937. Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Our history buff behind us here. 2:45 and ticking.
The year of Longview's first state title.
And of course, as a Lobo, does not fail to mention that was the year of the Longview Lobos' first state title. Talk about a homer, am I right? Second down and 7 after the play. Mason looking, winds up big time throw, plenty of air, intercepted, no! Pass was intended for McGregor. Bradley had a hand on it, but just couldn't haul it in.
And it's third down.
Third down now coming for the Eagles, for the Raiders after the incompletion. Both teams have one fumble recovery. West Rusk with the latest one, and Tatum has both interceptions of this ball game. Rare formation here, 4 receivers, and Murphy the back to Mason's right. He's going to hand it off. Murphy with the carry, gets cut down, but not before getting a pretty solid gain. And that'll bring up 4th down and about 3.
Isn't Mason like 5'4"?
Mason, upon first glance, seems to maybe about 5'10", 5'11". But one thing about him, he has 3 tackles already on this one.
Okay.
So what he makes up for in size, he makes up in hit power.
It's fourth down.
He's not very tall.
4th down and 4 now for the Raiders. It's do or die time. This could change the tide of the game. Minute 40 left in this one. And it looks like it's going to be a timeout for West Rusk. Coach Mata and company going to talk things over, and we'll take that timeout with them. Back in 30 seconds. This is Texas High School football on the Antler. Back in the middle of the West Rusk timeout here. Our PA announcer immediately to my left here in the East Texas Benefits broadcast booth is bringing up a concession stand, and can't think of too many better ideas than some good old-fashioned high school football concession stand food. Here we go. Back after the Raider timeout. It's 4th down and 4. Ball's on the 38, minute 40 remaining in the third. Murphy stepping up. Mason looking to go long here. Does. Strike across the middle is enough for the first down, and it is. Fantastic catch by Bailey Hughes through traffic, and that will move the chains and continue the Raider drive. Clock continues to roll. As Bailey did a great job, Bailey Hughes did a great job of staying in open space, and an even better job of maintaining his composure amongst the Tatum defense. After the completion, it's 1st and 10. Murphy, the running back, and they hand it off to him. Spins, eventually gets brought down, but not before gaining a good chunk. I'll call it about 3. Either way, it's second down and long for the Raiders. We're inside of a minute in the third. Time is not on the Raiders' side. The lone receiver on the short side of the field for the Raiders is McGregor. McGregor has been a frequent deep ball target for Mason throughout this ball game. Here's the second and long play. It's a handoff to Murphy. Murphy bounces off 1 tackle, 2, 3, spins. And it's only going to get about 3. That was once again another hard-fought couple of yards, this time for Murphy. Result of the play brings up a 3rd down and 6. Ball's on the 29. Quick substitution now. Dotson and Carrillo will check out. Reasoner and Hughes will check in. Hughes kept the drive alive early with a first down catch. And that'll end the third quarter of play. We've got 12 minutes remaining in this ball game, folks. It's been all Tatum. Eagles 36, Raiders 7. Back after this short break. This is Texas High School football on the Antler Sports Network. Just got word that my Texas Rangers have just gotten shellacked by the Cleveland Indians by a score. Well, the Cleveland Guardians, excuse me. Still got to get used to that. By a score of 12-3. It's a learning curve, to say the least. But the third quarter has concluded. It's fourth quarter action mere moments away in this scouting report game of the week between the Raiders of West Rusk and the Eagles of Tatum. Our next scouting report game of the week will be not too far off from here. It'll be next week, well, week after next on September 29th on ASN Radio, as Nick Jordan will be carrying Crossroads, the Bobcats, as they travel to Cayuga in the Postmasters Cup, as I like to call it. Fun fact about both of those schools: after this 3rd and 6 play, Mason keeps it, and it gets brought down probably at right about the original line of scrimmage, and that'll bring up 4th down and actually bring up 4th down and 11. But the little bit of history between, as a segue here for our next scouting report game of the week between Crossroads and Cayuga, both of those schools separated by FM 143. That road was paved by the main postmaster between those two towns, and thus I like to call it the Postmasters Cup. 4th down and 11 after the sack. 11:20 remaining in this ball game. 35-21 the score. Whitehouse and the Wildcats leading the Lions at a risky throw right across the middle. Could have been trouble, as Mason's pass intended for Cole Jackson was incomplete. As we look at it there, that could have been danger, but thankfully the intended receiver able to move out of the way. And now that will be a turnover on downs. Last time we saw a turnover on downs was on Tatum's first possession of the ball game. And since then, it's been all Eagles. 11-11 remaining in the fourth quarter. The Eagles up 36-7. Tatum will take over 1st and 10 from the 34-yard line. Tune in tomorrow on both Antler Sports Network 1 and 2 as we have a Super Saturday of all college football. As presented by Yosemite Plumbing, Randy Jackson will be on the 1s and 2s as the Texas College Steers at Chris's Trinity Mother Francis Rose Stadium will be hosting the Spirit of Ottawa, Arizona in their conference opener. And myself and Jimmy the St. Christopher will be in Crowley as the Rams of Texas Wesleyan take on the Aggies of Oklahoma Panhandle State. The Texas College game kickoff at about 6 o'clock Central. The Texas Wesleyan game, I believe it is at 6 o'clock Central. Time still to be determined. That run will be for no gain, bringing up second down and 10. 10:48 and counting remaining in this one. It's fair to say we won't see too many passing plays from the Eagles the rest of this contest. As the Eagles disperse and break their huddle, 10.5 in quarter number 4. Watson under center. Ball is bobbled. Handoff intended for Gibson. Ball still loose. West Rusk says they have it again. And they do. West Rusk comes up with another fumble recovery. As Tatum with their third fumble of the game, as Gibson was the intended recipient of the handoff. And West Rusk falls on the football yet again. And a fresh set of downs for the Raiders. It's pretty much the best, at least I've seen in a long time. We've seen this Tatum rushing attack neutralize. It definitely takes an army. Dare I say it takes a village of Raiders to stop a run offense of this potency. And they've pretty much done exactly that in multiple moments of this game. First down and 10 for West Rusk now. Ball is on the 34. Mason, hand off to Murphy. Murphy has some space and a couple of blocks. Sutter steps out to himself at the 30, 25, and about the 23. And maybe think he got the first down, at least from this angle. He definitely did. And still waiting on the line judge to stand still. And yes, first down and 10. Move the chains as the West Rusk offense is knocking on the door of the Tatum red zone. Ball now was on the 24-yard line. 10 minutes remaining in this ball game. Mason in the gun. Murphy to his right. 4 receivers out wide. One on the short side of the field. That's a handoff to Murphy. Murphy, big burst of speed, gets across at about the 10-yard line. Staying in bounds, the clock will roll. And a gain of about 5, maybe 6, as we wait for the official spot. It will be a gain of 4. Count it, make it second down and 6 right on the 20.
Second down, 20-yard line.
Here's Mason. Murphy to his left. Takes the shotgun snap. Hand out to Murphy, and he gets clobbered at the line of scrimmage. And he might have gotten no gain, or maybe even lost a yard, as Tatum wasted no time getting to Murphy. As Murphy has pretty much had a picture-perfect game, dare I say. But that's the shortest game we might have seen him get almost all game long. They're going to say no gain. 3rd and 6, ball still on the 20. That last tackle made by the Eagles, Quarty Peoples, and a host of flock of Eagles getting to Murphy on the run. Here's Mason. Got to keep it himself on 3rd and long. Turns the corner, has the first down and looking for change, and he eventually does. A solid gain, maybe of around 13, 14, as we have a Raider and an Eagle down, but thankfully their teammates are there to help him back up after the big-time run.
First and goal, 10-yard line.
It is first and goal now for the Raiders. Looking to score and try to chop down this Eagle lead. It's Murphy. Murphy stutter steps, barrels his way through, reaches out in the end zone. Touchdown. Murphy running like a man possessed. And a big-time touchdown run to get the Raiders back on the board. And now awaiting the PAT, let's take a look at another look at that run. And that is a definite contender for play of the game. Murphy breaking 1 tackle, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 tackles to get it in the end zone. The PAT through the upright. No! Hit the pylon. We have ourselves a doink, ladies and gentlemen. With 8:17, the Raiders will have to settle for 6. But what a way to get 6. Back after this, it's 36-13 on the Antler Sports Network.
A circus is fun, but it's not something that you should have in your backyard. I'm thankful we chose Yosemite for our roof. It looks great. They did an amazing job. But I guess some people like the circus.
In a world filled with chaos and the unexpected, you can always count on Yosemite for your roofing needs. Isn't that right, Nancy?
It was a big-time Murphy run that got the Raiders back on the scoreboard. I feel like we've been saying big-time runs all night long. Rumbling, stumbling, and barreling his way into the end zone is Murphy. And that gives us our current score line. With 8:17 remaining in quarter number 4, West Rusk slowly chopping down at the hefty oak tree that is the Tatum lead. The Eagles still up 36-13. A lot of football left to be played, but it's easily fair to say that the opportunities for the Raiders are starting to run out. Dotson teeing things up at the 40-yard line. Eagles going to go from left to right on your device. Check that is going to be Bailey Hughes doing the kicking honors for the Raiders. As the ball just doesn't want to play ball, falls off the tee yet again for the second time this evening. I'd love to see an over-under or a line on how many times the ball was going to fall over tonight. Very light wind gust tonight, already 76 degrees. Definitely beats the couple of weeks we had not too long ago of triple-digit temperatures. Fair to say, I do not miss that. But one thing I did miss was good old-fashioned East Texas football. Hughes teeing things off. High kick. Good amount of distance. Going to be hauled in by Sigler at the 20-yard line. Sigler takes to the outside along the sideline. Heck of a block. Still moving. Breaks a tackle. Gets spun out at about the 45-yard line. And we do have a penalty flag. Going to try to get another look and see where that flag was thrown. It was flagged right as Sigler was brought down. As the Eagles with 8 minutes and 8 seconds remaining, barring this result, standing, looking to move to 1-3 on the year. Holding penalty called against the Eagles, and that'll push them back. Regardless, still going to be first down and 10 as they begin this drive.
First and 10, 8:08 to go.
Ball's on the 37. Handoff is up to Gibson. Gibson barreling his way through. Check that. On the run is Xavier Moore. Might have seen the last of Gibson for the evening. He's definitely had a heck of a night. And it is a contender for our Yosemite Roofing GOAT of the game. Yosemite Roofing, the GOAT of roofing. And a proud sponsor of the Antler Sports Network. Here's second down and 5. Watson under center. It's a handoff to Moore yet again. Moore spins, gets the first down, and Moore. Solid gain of about 11. Initial tackle made by the Raiders. Number 55, Logan Mills, I'll give credit on that tackle too. Clock now rolling. 7:20 remaining in this game. Moore will check out. Gibson will be back in, so we just might see a little bit more of the Jamari Gibson show. Ball's now on the 45 with 7:10 remaining after the Moore carry. Bradley steps out. The lone receiver on the wide side of the field. Stepping right in front of him to defend is Giddings. Matchup we've been keeping an eye on all night long. Here's Gibson. Gibson bounces, skips his way through. He's got the first down and gets brought down at about the 40. 15-yard carry for Gibson. And I'd hate to be a stat tracker because there's been a lot of Gibson, vast majority of this evening. First down Yet again, no, it's a penalty flag holding called against the Eagles, and that'll completely negate the Gibson run. New sub in for the Eagles. Checking in is going to be DK Leach, the senior, going to step in on the offensive line. After the penalty, that's going to make it first down and 15 from the 40-yard line. Clock now rolling yet again. 6:44 remaining in this ball game. Watson communicating with Gibson. One receiver on the short side of the field. One slot receiver, three receivers total. It's a handoff to Gibson. Gibson skips through. He breaks away, gets across midfield. Didn't get the first down, but I'm sure he'll be fine with a pretty big gain there. He's got, as our own Randy Johnson stated behind me earlier, he definitely has well over 100 yards. Ball now on the Raiders 48. Watson under center. Handoff to Gibson yet again. He's got the first down and might have gained a yard or two. Either way, the chains will continue to move.
Gibson for first down yardage.
That line's carry for Gibson, a gain of 4. Be sure to stay with us for our post-game show, as we'll discuss what we all noticed from tonight's ball game and get you ready for tomorrow night's college football packed evening. It's a toss, this time outside up to Pippins. Pippins, his first carry of the game. He's got room. It's a foot race. 10-5, goal line, touchdown Eagles. Pippins pitter-patters his way along the sideline and into the end zone for another Eagle score. Pippins takes the pitch, 44 yards. It was pretty much a foot race as no Raider defender was able to catch him into the end zone. Touchdown Eagles yet again as they extend their lead. Our makeshift statistician here, Randy Johnson, giving us a possible figure for the running stats after this two-point conversion. Watson steps through into the end zone, two-point conversion. It's good. And it's fair to say they're about to touch the 400 rushing yard mark as this game continues. Back after this, the Tatum scoring run transpires on the Antler Sports. First down and 10 for the Raiders as their next offensive drive begins. 5 minutes and 23 seconds remaining in this one. After the fair catch from Sanchez, ball is on the 46-yard line. First down and 10. Ball on the 46. Mason double back set, one receiver. He's going to hand it to Murphy. Murphy, the sure hands, using his sure legs. Gets wrestled out at about the 45-yard line. Check that, make it the 46. And that'll make it second down and 2. Andy, we might have you try to go down and maybe get an interview with either Coach Keeling or maybe Jamari Gibson, who was, I like to already deem as our Yosemite roofing goat of the game. Fair to say. Here's a second down run now for Cole Jackson on the handoff, and he will get first down and 10. A couple of Eagles slow to get up, but seems to be just a result of the pile. As of right now, score update from our own Randy Johnson, excuse me. I'm thinking of...
Jackson was a drummer for the Jackson 5.
Indeed he was, a Jackson 5 drummer.
He's a younger brother.
Here's a keeper now to the outside for Mason. Mason turning upfield, has space. There seems to be on the first down and 10 run an injured Raider. And as he gets intended to, we'll take a short timeout. Back after this, it's Texas High School football on the Antler Sports Network. The injured Eagle has been attended to. A couple of players getting a couple shots of some high-quality H2O. What's even better than H2O? HTO. Proud sponsor of the Antler Sports Network, home of 27 freshly brewed flavors of teas and drinks to please any palate. Proud sponsor of the ASN. First down at 10 now for the Raiders, and a big hit right across the middle for a short game. As we take another look at that big-time hit, result's going to be 2nd and 8 from the 25-yard line. Here's a 2nd down and 8 play. Mason delaying handoff over to his running back. We're going to try to get a number on him. Guess who? It's Murphy yet again. Who would have thunk? As it has been the Murphy show indeed. Sanchez on the tackle for the Eagles. The result of that run will make it 2nd down and 4. Stick with us for post game as we'll have our own Randy Johnson speaking with head coach Whitney Keeling. We'll look at some scores across East Texas and wrap things up here from Eagle Stadium. 3rd down, handoff. It's going to be over to Jackson. Jackson picking up his step, has a little bit of extra space, barreling his way inside the 10. And it's going to be a big-time first down and goal for West Rusk. This Raider offense not going away anytime soon, as the big-time run makes it 1st and goal. Ball now at about the 3-yard line. Mason making an adjustment at the line of scrimmage on the double back set. 2 receivers now. Hand off to Murphy. Murphy turns the corner to the end zone. Touchdown, Raiders. The Raiders not done yet, as Murphy with a 3-yard touchdown run puts the Raiders back onto the board. Take another look at it here on the instant replay. Murphy had fantastic blocks upfield and just did the rest himself as we await the PAT. Bailey Hughes prepared to do the honors. Doesn't hit the upright this time. Is through the uprights and good. After the successful PAT, your score, Tatum 44, West Rusk 20, back in 30 seconds on the Antler Sports Network.
A circus is fun, but it's not something that you should have in your backyard. I'm thankful we chose Yosemite for our roof. It looks great. They did an amazing job. But I guess some people like the circus.
In a world filled with chaos and the unexpected, you can always count on Yosemite for your roofing needs. Isn't that right, Nancy?
Back after the Murphy 3-yard touchdown run. And we are 3:09 remaining left in the fourth quarter of play. 44 for Tatum, 20 for West Rusk. Again, be sure to stick with us as we'll have our statistician, historian, color commentator, score keep-upper, a man of many hats, our own Randy Johnson, as we look to try to speak with head coach Whitney Keeling at the conclusion of this game. Here to kick things off after the 3-yard touchdown run is going to be Hughes, same man who had the successful PAT conversion. And after this kickoff, we're going to try to check in with Randy here. It's a short pooch kick, not a lot of distance, hauled in at about the 40-yard line. And Tatum will take it back over 1st and 10, as knowing this offense could possibly be the last drive of the game. Randy, you've done a pretty good job, at least better than I surely have it, keeping up with the stats on this game. If you could give a good estimate as to how many rushing yards Tatum has had, what would be your figure? If you could throw it at the dartboard.
Probably somewhere around the 400-yard mark, maybe more. They've had a lot of big gains by their fullback and also Gonzalez and the quarterback. So they're probably in the 400-yard mark.
Definitely.
Somewhere in that ballpark. Do you see me now?
Yes, indeed, I do. Thank you, Randy. We'll hear from you for a second. A multi-prong rushing attack indeed for Tatum. And it seems like they're going to talk things over and take their first time out. We'll take a timeout with them. Back in 30 seconds. This is Texas High School football on the Antler Sports Network.
Give it everything. At Pelche Key and Tyler, we're tough, never quits.
Back after the timeout from Tatum. First down and 10 on the 41-yard line, 3:09 remaining. We have our own Randy Johnson, our makeshift sideline reporter, on standby to speak, or at least try to speak with head coach of the Tatum Eagles, Whitney Keeling, at the conclusion of this one. Gibson still going to work, not done yet. It's going to get a gain of about 9 as he's right on the verge of hitting midfield.
About the 48-yard line.
Probably going to mark him at about 2nd down and 2. No, check that. They're going to make it 2nd down and 3. Might have cut him short a couple of yards there. Clock rolling as we approach the 2-minute mark. 2:36 remaining in this one. We'd like to thank all of our fantastic Antler Sports Network crew. Our newest addition, Mr. Randy Johnson. Our camera operator, Zach Abercrombie. Nick Jackson and Justin Jackson. Well, excuse me, Nick Jordan and Justin Jackson over Master Control. And the rest of our fantastic Antler Sports Network crew as we have a pre-snap penalty. Seems that the flag might have been waved off. Either way, it's going to be... No, check that. It was a false start penalty called against the Eagles, therefore making it 2nd down and 7 here. The Eagles trying to get all that back pretty quickly, trying to do it the way they do best with the run, but they're only going to get about 3 or 4 or so yards. Not enough for 4th down, but it's going to be a big 3rd down for the West Rusk defense. They're going to call it a gain of 4, make it 3rd and 3, with 1:43 remaining in this ball game. Man in motion now. Looks like it could be not only could have been a possible free play opportunity, but instead gets an opportunity to see some more flags. False start penalty called against the Eagles. That'll pretty much put him back to where they were beforehand. Now instead of a 3rd and 7, it's going to be a 3rd and 8. With a minute and a half left in this one, as the West Rusk band across from us here in the booth, they're having a grand old time. After the pre-snap penalty, it's 3rd down and 8. Minute 20 and counting in this one. Man in motion. It's a toss to the outside, hauled in by Pippins. Pippins steps out of bounds. He gets rocked. Thankfully, the trainers moved out of the way right on time. Tackle was made by a tandem of Hughes and Hunter McCandless. McCandless showing plenty of fire on that last hit. And it's going to be 4th down and 8 after no gain on the Pippins outside carry for the Eagles. Minute 10. Watson, quick handoff to the outside. Turning the corner is Gibson. Gibson, possible horse collar there. At least from this angle it might have been. But it's a flag either way. And the clock will stop temporarily with a minute 4 remaining. Now instead is going to be a holding penalty called against the Eagles. Interesting call, at least from my viewpoint. Gibson had the outside corner as he got outside of the hashes and was destined to see even more green the way he was breaking tackles, but thought he was horse collared, but no call. After the penalty, that'll make it 4th down and 14 yards to go. The Eagles now on their own 37 as the clock will roll. 10 seconds on the play clock, 50 seconds on the game clock. As we're 1 or 2 more plays away from the Eagles of Tatum clinching a win here on homecoming. The big-time run is not going to be enough. Turnover on downs as West Rusk will possibly get a couple more cracks or a couple more shots at getting into the end zone already in Eagle territory. On the post game, we'll have our own sideline reporter, Mr. Randy Johnson, hopefully talking to head coach Keeling. As the teams will flip sides, Coach Keeling in this win will take his Eagles to 1-3 on the year. His next game, he'll be hitting the highway, possibly on Highway 69 or Interstate Highway 69, to take on the Raiders of Lumberton. So he'll be going from one Raider to another. Here's 1st and 10. Hand off over to Murphy. Murphy breaking a couple tackles, barreling his way across the 35. Is going to be brought down at about the 33. 28 seconds left. And soon as the chains move, the clock will roll. So it's a 3-second difference between the game clock and the play clock. 1st down at 10 on the 33-yard line. Mason in the gun, Murphy to his right, possibly the last play of the game. The Eagles sending the blitz. They're going to hand it off this time instead to Jackson Van Zandt, getting his first rush of the game. And he's not going to get very far with 10 seconds left. Officials blowing the play dead. That's going to be a solid gain of about 6. And make it about 2nd down and 4. 10 seconds remaining. Clock will roll. This will be the last play of the game. Handoff up the middle to Van Zandt. Van Zandt gets brought down, and that will do it. Homecoming is even sweeter here in Eagle Nation. Your final score, Tatum 44, West Rusk 20. We'll take a quick 3-minute timeout before we get into the postgame and hear from Coach Keeling. Back after this. This is Texas High School football on the Antler Sports Network.
Brick Street Pharmacy and Medical Supply offers a complete approach to health and healing, providing prescriptions and medical supplies from one team who understands you and your lifestyle needs. Professional friendly service, providing the best care possible. Brick Street Pharmacy and Medical Supply. Brick Street Pharmacy and Medical Supply introduces the U-Step Laser Walker, providing Parkinson patients new freedom. A laser line visually prompts each step, so you walk normally and stay in control, preventing rollaways. Now available at Brick Street Pharmacy and Medical Supply.
Okay, Jared, I'm on the sideline or in the middle of the field with Coach Whitney Keeling, the victorious Tatum Eagles, and their first win of the season at homecoming by the score of 44-20. Jared, take it away with a question for Coach.
Well, Coach, of course, a big-time win. What a way to not only get your first win of the year, but on homecoming. The entire community came out. This has got to be a great moment for you. Of course, last year you went against the Lumberton Raider team, and now you're going to go against them next week. Talk about how this big of a win helps you build momentum against the Lumberton team that you're pretty familiar with.
Well, I mean, victories are hard to come by. You know, we celebrate each and every one of them for sure. Homecoming are special just because of the fact that you get to play in front of your home crowd, and a lot of people that don't get to see those games normally are here. We're excited about the opportunity we have next week, but we're going to enjoy this victory for sure.
Now, Coach, this is my last question for you. Now I'm going to turn it over to Randy. I always like asking coaches about their post and pregame meals. There's got to be a special post-game dinner for a win of this magnitude. What do you have on the menu, Coach?
Well, my wife and the wives always cook, so tonight's Mexican food. So we're having fajitas and tacos.
Oh, man, save me a plate. Randy, take it away, buddy.
Okay. Coach Keeling, I'm asking you about your rushing attack tonight. Had to be somewhere near the 400-yard mark all total. Somewhere in that ballpark. That's something you pride yourself on, I know.
The staple of our offense. We're going to try to establish a run. I think we probably threw it more tonight than we've probably thrown it in a long time, but they were really packing it in between the tackles, so we had to try to get outside. I thought our kids did an extremely good job.
Well, that was impressive offensively. Defensively, you had a couple of picks, you got a fumble recovery, and made some big stops.
Well, I think our defense has tremendously gotten better since the first week, and we've worked extremely hard to get that shored up. We did not play well defensively the first couple of games, so we worked extremely hard for that, and I think they did a really good job tonight.
All right, Coach Keeling, thank you very much for your time.
For being
yes, sir. You bet. Have a good evening.
Yes.
Jared, back up to you. Final score again: the Tatum Eagles win at homecoming by the score of 44-20 over the visiting West Rusk Raiders.
Thank you, Randy. Of course, Coach Keeling, a big-time win for him, a big-time win for the Eagles, and a big-time win for the community. We're going to take a 3-minute timeout. We'll take a look at some local scores. Randy and I will wind this thing down from Eagle Nation. As mentioned earlier, our final score, Tatum 44, West Rusk 20. Back after this 3-minute break, it's Texas High School football on the ASN.
Pharmacy and Medical Supply offers a complete approach to health and healing, providing prescriptions and medical supplies from one team who understands you and your lifestyle needs. Professional friendly service, providing the best care possible. Brick Street Pharmacy and Medical Supply. Brick Street Pharmacy and Medical Supply introduces the U-Step Laser Walker, providing Parkinson patients new freedom. A laser line visually prompts each step, so you walk normally and stay in control, preventing rollaways. Now available at Brick Street Pharmacy and Medical Supply.
And 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Final score once again here from Tatum, Texas. The Tatum Eagles 44, the West Rusk Raiders 20. Jared Jones, Randy Johnson here back up in the booth to close things out here on a fantastic September evening. Randy, you talked about it with Coach Keeling. I've talked about it all game long. Anybody with eyes that watch this game, whether in person or on our broadcast, could see from the start it was all Eagles rushing.
Yeah, they put the ball in their playmakers' hands. The quarterback, Watson, of course, Gonzalez on the end of rounds and the jet sweeps, and the tailback with a magnificent game, somewhere in the 150 range, just speculating. But they rushed for a ballpark 400 yards and threw for another 150. They had an easy 500-plus yard game. I mean, I could check the stats tomorrow, but that's just from the eyeball test, as you mentioned. And they dominated pretty much because of their team speed and got some big plays on defense, the 3 turnovers as well, and really had their way from their counterparts from western part of Rusk County back here to the southeastern part of Rusk County. Southeast wins tonight over the northwestern part of the county. But as you mentioned, it was the ground game that led the way, and they dominated time of possession. I would have to guess they had the ball somewhere in the 32 to 34-minute range, just speculating, versus West Rusk time of possession being, another 17 or 18 minutes. It was almost a 2-to-1 time advantage for the Tatum Eagles in this big win at homecoming tonight.
Now let's look at the other side. If you're looking at this West Rusk defense, of course, that's a pretty tall task to try to take on, especially when you've already went against an always tough Malakoff team. You went against a Sabine team whose offense is steadily building week by week and who will carry in their home game against Gladewater later on in the season. But Randy, and we can get ready to wrap things up with this, what did you like from the West Rusk Raiders?
Basically, their ability to, on defense, they played hard, they hit hard, they just didn't have the manpower. But from a positive standpoint, they came to play, they played hard, they were just outmanned in the end by too much speed. And the couple of big pass plays that happened in the second quarter, especially when Bradley scored on the first one that went 40-plus yards, that kind of set the tone as well. We didn't have a score until the second quarter. And then it was 30-7 at halftime. So I look at it as West Rusk just didn't match up. They beat Malakoff earlier in the year. Is that correct?
Schedule here, no, they did not. They lost to Malakoff.
That's their one
loss of the year.
They beat Sabine. Sabine's improved, but I was thinking, Malakoff is like number 5 in the state or better. So I wasn't sure about that one. But yeah, they came in 2-1 tonight. They'll start district play next week, I would think. This was not a district game, I don't believe. I don't think they're in the same district. Things change every other year, with the UIL changing things. But Tatum's going to go to Lumberton, and I know that's a non-district game. So I think Tatum only has 5 district games, which starts in 2 weeks. So this was game number 4. They'll play Lumberton down, I guess, in Lufkin again. Or wherever.
No, they're actually playing at Lumberton.
At Lumberton. Wow.
So they'll have a nice little drive.
Yeah, not a neutral site like they played last year. And that game was like 46-44 or something.
Indeed it was.
Something like
that game. It was an absolute shootout.
It was a shootout, I know. And but Tatum's going to be fine in the district. Looking ahead for them, they're a well-coached team, and they lost their first 3 games, but they played the Dangerfields of the world. And, of course, they played Center, who's very good. And I'm not sure who their third game was against, but, they weren't playing.
It was that Pittsburgh game that was last week that was canceled due to the storm.
It was canceled. It was totally canceled. I guess but anyway, yeah, most of the teams made it to halftime, and here comes the lightning and the storms. But as you mentioned, I think West Rusk is going to be fine. Just a matchup that wasn't to their advantage with a lack of speed. Their quarterback was shifty, got a good arm for a little guy. I mean, I look at him, I don't think he's 5'8". I don't know, you said 5'10". He's a short dude, but he winds up and throws the ball deep. They got a good running back in Murphy. I think they probably could use another running back to take some of the pressure off Murphy, but they were able to get around the corners as well, and they made it a very competitive game tonight. So,
a very competitive game indeed, and most importantly, an entertaining game.
Entertaining.
The Tatum the homecoming fans get to come back home nice and happy.
Yes, they do.
Randy, any closing thoughts?
Just looking forward to seeing more football this year. I've broadcasted 5A, 6A, all the way down to 2A, and also private schools in the Tyler area for a season or two. Did TK Gorman and Grace and Brook Hill and a couple others there back about 6 years ago for a season or two, and that was interesting. A little bit smaller scale of competition, but I just love high school football is my wheelhouse. Tomorrow will be my first college game ever.
So,
of course, 23 years.
Glad you brought that up, as Randy, you'll be back in Tyler at Christus Trinity Mother Francis Rose Stadium
at Earl Campbell Field.
At Earl Campbell Field.
Yes, sir. We got to mention our Earl Campbell.
The full 50,000 word tag on that stadium as the Steers of Texas College host their Sooner Athletic Conference interconference opener against the Spirit of Ottawa, Arizona. And I'll be with Jimmy the St. Christopher at Crowley ISD Multipurpose Stadium as the Rams of Texas Wesleyan also host a Sooner Athletic Conference opponent in the Aggies of Oklahoma Panhandle State. We're going to wrap things up here from Eagle Stadium. For Randy Johnson, for Zach Abercrombie, Nick Jordan, our head writer, Justin Jackson, our executive producer, and the rest of our fantastic Antler Sports Network crew, this is Jared Jones. Again, our final score from Eagle Nation: Tatum 44, West Rusk 20. Until tomorrow night, so long, everybody.